Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Fight Night Rising. My name is Khroen, and joining me is Boopasaurus, again with Mort Dog, ever looming in the background. Boop, how are you doing this evening?
I feel like I'm going to use the Mort Dog pick every time there's a new patch when we come into a Fight Night Rising. Meaning that Mort Dog, like you said, looms large over this patch. We were on a month-long patch just before this, so hopefully we get to see some changes, but we also have a comp from last patch that seems to be doing quite well.
Yeah, definitely a month-long patch because, of course, regionals just happened. They are over with. NA regionals, you have our 4 NA representatives, and, there's still more TFT action left to go. There's still more patches, more competitive good stuff coming our way. And yeah, it's going to be, a really nice Fight Night Rising on this new patch. Boop, I always say I love when we get to see these Fight Night competitors try out a new patch, really figure it out and see what direction that we're going, because it's going to have some implications when we start figuring out this meta for the World Championships in about a month. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and introduce the lobby players that we have here today. 16 phenomenal players. 4 of them are returning. In the lobby A, we got Dubious Donger, first name, but it's probably going to be the best one of the evening. We got K3UPH, Lyric Fan, Overrated NA. Peeba is back, no longer Peebo. It's kind of shadow Peeba there. We got Fearsma, Jesper, and DP Maokai running out lobby A. But Boop, what about lobby B?
We got a good wobble, Axmos, Ninja, Haru Kawamaki, Lil Chief, Mercurial, Pro Viber, and Quokti. Quokti? Quokti. Haru Kawamaki coming in from the win last week.
Oh yeah, Haru Kawamaki. The name from some from anime
Doki Doki.
Video game, or wait, is it
Doki Doki Literature Club.
Wait, I thought it was Danganronpa.
Oh, was it Danganronpa? Oh, yep, same thing.
I think
same thing, right?
Thing. Maybe slightly different, but hey, that's okay. That's okay. We still got the defending champ, of course, Haru Kawamaki here. And, they won a decent amount of money last time. We got a prize pool for all these players. The Rising prize pool, in fact, first place through 4th, earn a bit of that money. Here we go. We see it, $150 goes to first place. Second place, $75. Third place gets 50, fourth place earns 25, and the top 4 return for next week's competition. We know that Haru Kawamaki won last week, but we have other returning members as well. Mercurial, Peeba, and Yippee Maokai are other returning members, and they're kind of split 2 and 2 per lobby, so we'll see if they all can make it to the finals again, because they are really strong players, but I think we all have some, some other good names here too.
Yeah, every single person has the opportunity to show up today, and we've had some upsets in the past. Sometimes it's all 4 returning players coming through, even with the split lobbies. Yeah. And just as a small reminder, we don't take top 4 in each lobby. We take the top 8 total scores, moving into the finals for lobbies 5 and 3. 4 and 5.
4 and 5, yeah.
4 and 5, because that's what counting is. But yeah, I'm super stoked to see what we're going to be looking at today, because we've got some pretty versatile players, and it's always, are we going to continue moving into what we were already good at last month? Because we practiced comps for a whole month.
Oh, yeah.
Last time around, or are we going to try to push something newer? And I think 2 of the biggest changes we have to talk about is Enforcer is only a 3-shot now, so there's no 2 or 4 Enforcer, so there's only 3, so those Enforcer comps are all totally different. Now you have to add an entire other unit that you weren't using before, and then the other one was the AD adjustments for almost all of the AD champions in the game. So that's going to bring AP up for sure, but that's also going to give an opportunity for some units who didn't quite get a huge nerf in their base AD, who are going to be getting a lot of power from their items, and those units are probably going to be doing just fine.
Yeah, exactly. And even a unit that comes to mind that I think was part of that AD reduction there is like Talon, but Talon doesn't really, get a lot of his value out of AD. I think there's rumblings of reroll Talon still being really, really good out there. And talking about reroll, Warwick's still on the table. Warwick's still kind of front and center. It's kind of crazy, the rise and the persistence of this composition. I don't know. I think we'll definitely be seeing it over multiple lobbies here tonight. I think talking about all the other changes, even though some AD changes came through. I think we're still going to see some of those compositions. Sivir, I think, is still on the table. But AP, you mentioned it, Boop, the rise of AP. I think Renata is going to be more stable in this meta right now. She kind of fell off for that whole last month, but I think now she's back, as well as some other Arcanist compositions. I think there is time for comps like Ahri to shine more than she has, and again, in that previous patch. But we'll have to figure it out. We'll have to see. Players sometimes are going to full lean into what they think is good. Some players are just going to only play, what they played in that previous patch. Just comfort kind of is key. So it's all up in the air, but we'll start to see as we do load into game number 1, Boop.
It's Yippee Maokai, as we're going to be riding along. And look at this. We got a large rod to start. So a lot of people might assume that's going AP, but the Rage Blade can also be a pretty good item for a lot of our units right now. So curious to see where that's going to go. That's why we have some bow starts as well. Yordles are actually pretty strong right now as well. They avoided some of the attack damage nerfs. Yeah. Some of the units did there because... who knows? But the but the Yordles are performing quite well. You're going to be seeing a little bit more 6 just in general in your ladder games. Curious to see if we're going to see that here. The other thing I wanted to bring up was I was watching a streamer yesterday, not super well known. I totally forget. I just was picking a random streamer, and they were playing Dodge against the Warwick and was crushing it.
Oh wow!
And so I wonder if that's ever going to be like the next step, because I kind of wanted to see it last patch with all of the attack damage champions being so good, but it's so hard to invest that crit glove into defensive items. But this Vex did not die against any of the Warwicks or any of the AD comps that it was in. So curious to see if anyone's going to be investing in that now that AD is maybe even more on the table for some comps like Warwick, and see if Dodge is going to be a little bit more invested.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's actually a really good point, especially with, I think, the prevalence of these potential Arcanist compositions, especially centering around some 3-cost units, Vex being one of them, or even if you just go like that Vex kind of Morgana style. We'll see. I think Dodge really can come into play and be very, very good at some points. Getting our first augment choices, Yippee Maokai scouting out the rest of the lobby, has second wind, hyper roll, or it was blue battery, I believe. It does pick hyper roll, however, so probably a lot of early gold going to go up or being spent into level ups and still kind of retaining that +2 per turn. Gets to see where the Soulshine Hex is as well. It is top left.
And the Hex Techs are a little bit better now as well. I believe the 2, 4, and 6 scale now when it comes to the shield. So some re-rolling on some of the early units can work out. Kind of like, that re-roll Innovator comp that was pretty popular during Challenger Series with like the Tier 3 Camille and the Tier 3 Twitch. You could potentially push in that direction. We have another Jarvan, so if you do truly want to re-roll it, you'd pick it up. But at this point, we're just doing a classic Hex Tech comp with just a little bit of twinsies action here on the Nocturne.
Yeah, a little bit. Hopefully 2-star that soon. But yeah, already having 3 Hex Tech, having a 4 Hex Tech opener can be very strong. It is 2-1, so no more neutrals. Don't get opportunity for it quite yet. Not going to be slamming any of these items yet either. A little bit awkward for these specific ones, but it's okay to take a bit of a loss. It's going up against Dubious Donger, who is running that Yordle package. Talked about the Yordles. A lot of them did dodge those AD nerfs. Corki got hit by some AD nerfs, I believe. Is like 10 less AD, but that's fine, right? Corki does magic damage mostly anyway. Gnar maybe is the only one that we have to really worry about, because Gnar was used as a mid-game carry for a lot of AD compositions, or even, in Spicy Zappy's case, carry throughout the whole game. But it'll be a little bit less effective now.
All right, as we look over at Piba, new haircut. Completely shaved off this time.
We started to see it 2 weeks ago.
I know, it was 2 weeks ago, and it was St. Patrick's Day, I believe, and people was doing a shave his head reward for his chat, and I think it wasn't all at once. It was each goal was 1 stripe down his head, and it definitely helped him reach his top 4 in terms of hair power. But now that Piba is kind of like the wild card in any lobby, right? Piba is a lot like Spicy Appies, really wants to be a lot like Nubao, who again is probably the most consistent out of all of the flexible players. But people can play anything. Probably one of the more flexible players that you can see in the lobby today. Yep. And sometimes won't even pick the comp that he's going to choose until after everyone else does. So I wonder what kind of pace Piba is going to be playing with through this particular patch.
Yeah, definitely. I would say Piba, definitely one of, if not the most recognizable kind of long-term TFT player here. Piba really did make a lot of impact when it comes to establishing that go fast 9, play legendary units meta. Piba really kind of pioneered that play style, but I think he's grown a lot as a player over the years, right? Over the sets. Piba isn't just going to be stuck on that as a, the only option. Piba now, finds situations where, yeah, he has to roll down a bit earlier than he would, always like to. Has to play for a, 4 cost or 3 cost based board, rolling down level 7 or 8 sometimes, right? Can't always greed to find those legendaries, and he does a good job at it, right? Top 4 last week, and I think with this kind of new Piba evolutions, going to be in a solid spot, depending on how the lobby goes, to do it again. What is he doing?
It's talent. That's what he's doing. It's talent.
Honestly, true. I couldn't do that.
We can only wish to be able to achieve the things that Piba can achieve in just
Honestly,
a little small square. As the Senna now is starting to fall, we do have some assassins and some debonaires, blue buff on the brand, and this is kind of like that reroll potential option that you can have with the Arcanus. You can go into the debonair direction, and you already got the blue buff, so you can go into most of the Arcanus after that as well. We do need some AP if we want to get there, but again, the bow, not even the worst thing in the world. Some of our Arcanus can work really good with the bow, like Ari.
Yeah, no, definitely. Ari can actually be a really good item carrier of things like a Rage Blade or a Shiv, or hey, you can even just keep them on her for the whole entire game. To be completely honest, those Ari builds I think are viable, have some merit to them. Piba instantly grabs a glove to be able to make that into a Last Whisper, perhaps. We'll see the direction Piba's going to go a bit later. As you mentioned, not locked into anything. Still is probably going to, just play this loss streak out until Krugs. Try to roll down maybe on 3-2. I think there's still a lot of merit to that in this meta, but on this carousel, we do see one player who is not like the rest, and that was overrated NA, being level 5 already, playing a very, very aggressive Boop, and with that is still 100 HP.
And this isn't like the most insane composition either. It's just Ezreal, who got probably one of the bigger nerfs of the last patch here with some items, and that just goes to show just how overperforming that unit was. I remember seeing some tier 3 Ezreals like stick around at like 5-1, 5-2 as like the last unit, and actually taking down Jaces and stuff like that if the ults were working in the Ezreal's favor. But Dubious Donger at the other side now, looking like some Chemtechs. We have some Enforcers as well. We got some Bruisers and some Yordles. So we're definitely going to be econing over on the Donger side. And Heimerdinger that is their name, just so everyone knows. That is the nickname of Heimerdinger. And and we have our new Edge of Night here as well, substantially better. We actually didn't think we didn't talk about it at the early game.
True.
Basically, when Edge of Night procced, you would almost lose 2 auto attacks, and by the time you came out of stealth, you were just dead anyway. So now you're actually going to be able to develop ult charge on Edge of Night, which makes it a possible item on almost every carry in the game, depending on what kind of lobby it is, or even things like Morgana, if you want to try to push a couple more ultimates out as well. Super good item to experiment with right now. I don't know for sure if it has any sticking power, but it did seem to work out there as Ezreal, got to attack 2 or 3 times versus having just to sit there and wait to come out of stealth as the last unit.
Yeah. Oh man, overrated, playing so aggressive, leveling up to 6 on 2-6 without an econ augment. Does, I guess, have an econ synergy now, playing this Poppy. Gonna be playing 3 Yordle, gonna make, probably just 1 gold per turn, but is going to put pressure on the rest of the lobby. I love bringing up this point personally. Piba is taking 12 damage here in just stage 2. That's crazy, right? Piba's at 57 HP right now. it's gonna be a lot really hard to recover, especially when overrated is going to be, you know, hitting players for this much as we go into stage 3 as well. It forces players to roll down a bit earlier. We're not gonna be as likely to see these capped late game boards unless they're probably one of these top 2 win streak players.
That's a very good point. I wonder if we're going to even see stage 7, because reroll does already seem to be pretty popular.
Yeah.
We have some aggressive leveling as Yefi Malkaye. It goes to 6 from this point. So we also have a Malzahar 2 already on this board. So not only are we re-rolling and hitting on some of these boards, are just regular rolled, just hit players that are playing a little bit of a longer game also hitting now, which is part of the reason why Piba has lost almost 50% of his HP just in the first stage of PvP.
Yeah. This is kind of crazy. 3 tiers for Kwakti right here, has 4 Malzahars, and isn't selling for Econ, which makes me think that this might be a full lean into Malzahar reroll. Don't have 3 mutants yet, and we're not quite sure, I think, what the mutant is, but could be good enough to prioritize.
And this, my friends, is what happens when Sejuani can no longer do a 2 Enforcer on the board. So you're going to need a whole other unit again to get the Enforcer bonus. That's why they buffed the bonus in general. Well, not necessarily with the 4. They buffed it from the 2. But the overarching theme here is that right now that Sejuani is not really offering a ton other than some frontline, right? Which is great at this point in the game. But that Enforcer buff will most likely not come until the Vire Jace land, if that's the way that we want to go.
Yeah, exactly. Very hard now. It's very, very interesting, the Enforcer change, but going to be less likely to see it splashed into any composition.
It in almost all of them.
Yeah, no, it could really reasonably find its way into almost any single composition, right?
Yeah, it's got, I mean, the thing about it is Enforcers, I think what people really underestimated was that there are 2 Enforcers with 3 synergies, right? So it was pretty easy to get the Enforcer buff in, and that might have been the intent, but I like the change here. I do like the 3 spot a lot better. As we move over to Scrap now, this is something that we don't really see a lot of unless someone gets that early emblem, right? So we do have the 4 Scraps at the ready. This is going to be a potential Irelia comp as we move forward. But right now we're seeing Jhin, who again was probably one of the bigger benefits of the overall AD change, because Jhin is now going to be a little bit more competitive with some of those AD units now, as he has been sneaking into some more comps on this patch.
Yeah, I think snipers are viable right now. Last Whisper Jhin, the start of a good sniper composition, running the Scrap. So it might not be that. I think if you think of Scraps, you might think of, oh, I'm going to go Irelia, go into 4 Scraps later, because that's going to be, decently solid. You can run a kind of Jinx pseudo carry as well. And yeah, it's not really good enough with just this Jhin 1 to win rounds. In fact, K3U is in last place, is on a 7-loss streak, has lost literally every single round this game. And I don't think you'd really expect that out of this board, right? It was only 1 stars, but I think the unit quality was fairly average. There's even going to be the Scarab in there to provide us a little bit more frontline. I'm going to be swapping a couple more things in here now. Camille 2 is going to be a little bit more frontline, provide time for the Jhin. And that's always what Jin's going to need, right? He needs time to shred through all of those units, because he does pierce, of course. He's going to do a lot of damage and just needs that time.
And this comp really doesn't have the world's best frontline right now. The Echo is probably the best frontliner for the game, and he's going to jump right into the back line. But the other thing about it is we've lost every round, and we're running a Scrap comp, right? Scrap is a notorious early game comp because you get free items from it, right? Especially if you get the floor, because not only do you get Scrap, you also get the shield with the Scrap, and now we have Cybernetic. So we actually have increased our power level quite a bit, and I wonder if it's enough to take this round from Piba, who has now started to power up playing Twitch evaders, it looks like.
Rerolled Twitch. Piba leaning towards that, had a decent opener for it. Is going to commit. This Twitch, though, finds its way into the backline, finds its way to the Jhin. Oh, the Zillion does actually stun it. Can Jhin get one more auto? Oh, he does. Wow, okay.
I wonder if that was a little lag. It seemed like the
Yeah, it
bullets
was.
did the damage a little later. I was a little confused. I was like, wait, did 2 of those just miss?
Yeah, I was like, wait, Twitch doesn't have any dodge. How did that
I
just?
know, right? I did talk about dodge earlier, but that's not what I
Yeah.
meant. But we do finally turn it around, and this means that 3-5 is going to be a moderately, pretty important roll down for both Piba and K3U. 3-5 is one of those breaking points where you have to decide whether to level up or keep rolling. Yep. And we'll see where this goes. We still need to get some units, so rolling might be an option here, but we also want the Jin too. So, there's a lot more to do, and we absolutely have to make it to this next item round, because if you look at the items on this board, there really aren't that many. There's the Jin, and then we have 2 components, right? So with cybernetics and with the scrap, all of these components are completed items, pretty much, and we just got to get them on the board.
Yeah, I was probably going to do a little bit of both of what you mentioned, Boop. Level up and roll here. K3U actually had a really, really good econ opener. They were able to level up to 7 here with over 40 gold to roll with. And that doesn't happen unless you get, again, a really good econ opener, is able to find a Seraphine, gets 5 innovators in. And Jin Innovators is a composition that I think is pretty standard, right? It is going to be strong. It wasn't really too prevalent in that last month patch, but it was still played in patches before. People know, this is a comp that you can run. Seraphine having Merlos now is very strong as well. So this is really the stabilization point of K3U, and didn't have to roll that deep even to get here either. I think being on 20, maybe even 30 gold if we choose to sell a couple things here, is still a really, really nice spot. Can definitely recover from this. Yeah, so we'll make 30.
46 HP is a great amount of HP at this point, too. It gives you a couple losses if you happen to need them, but you have a lot more wiggle room to start rolling here, right? And just have a little bit more to do throughout the next couple rounds. And we already have dub airs on the field, too, and we have our second Jin. So we're going to keep going, it looks like, all the way to 0, as we're going to start selling some units to try to hit this Jin, which might happen. We're at level 7, so it could definitely hit. Same thing with the Seraphine.
This is a very interesting play, I think, from K3U. They sold to 30, and I think that was all right. I thought it was going to be just a recognition of, okay, I'm probably strong enough with that to stabilize. I'm going to wait until 4-1 and then reassess. Do I have to keep rolling? Because rolling it down for this board, right? No improvements were made. If this was a loss, that would have been insanely damaging to the econ potential. Is going to win anyway, so I think, again, we have to beg the question, was that rolling even worth it? And I don't really think it was, Boop.
We're going to get some econ, right? And we are on our win streak, so we're going to get a little bit more from that. But that is a lot of gold to get a little bit, right? It was like, you bought something and the next day it went on sale.
Yeah.
Right? We bought it at full price.
Basically.
Unfortunately, as we're in Esports now, and we're looking at a sniper comp, something that you mentioned a little earlier. However, Ashe was really not a carry until we hit tier 3. She can do really well through stage 2, but this is exactly where you will find Ashe struggling. But we have some really good items on her, because those items are for Jin. But we don't have any right now. We'll see if we're going to be able to roll into it, especially since we're contested on it now.
Not even any syndicates right now either. A lot of items, however.
None of them really go together, other than the Morellos.
I mean, can make Morellos. There's already a Frozen Heart, so with that in mind, right? Was it like Locket Redemption?
Redemption,
It's not going to be Sunfire Archangels, I don't think. So, yeah, Esper 7 rolling down. So not going to be committing to an Ashe 3. Is going to need to pivot into another kind of like probably a 4-cost carry, and that's going to be Jin at this point, but there's already players contesting Jin. It could really be kind of any 4-cost AD carry. It doesn't have to be a Jin by any means, and Ashe is still going to do okay at carrying, but up against the board of Piba, who has a perfect item Twitch 3, yeah, that's not going to be nearly enough at this point in the game.
The Ashe is going to really struggle to push any sort of damage without the natural attack speed enhancement at tier 3. Basically, it's just not enough. She's throwing feathers at the not the Zaya kind either at the opponent, and it's just not good enough right now, but it is a substantial difference if we're able to re-roll it. It just doesn't seem like we are even planning to. Even if we wanted to at this point, as we're actually going to be pushing a different comp now, which is a great recognition by Yeast, where we're at 37 HP. I feel like this is one of those forced pivots, which is something you never really want to be a part of, but at least we're doing it, right? A lot of players will be hard-headed and push for the Jhin. Sometimes you hit and sometimes you don't, but you're going to be doing a little bit better for yourself, I think, in this kind of situation by being able to control your variables on the board, even though this isn't necessarily what you wanted to play.
Yeah. This is just more awkward as well because, running multiple socialites but having Rek'Sai 0 items in the socialite hex, it's not really great there. It's Senna trying to, do the work of, probably more than she's actually going to be able to do in most cases. Not the case here, though, against Kwakti. Actually, the Senna is going to be fairly good here.
Ooh.
Wow, with that crit, take out 3 remaining units and win the round. All right, stabilizing, at least for now, at 37 HP.
Yeah, got a little 5-finger discount on that round, I think.
Yeah, that was kind of wild.
Stole the round a little bit, in my opinion. But Frozen Heart on the Leona. This is the second board with the Frozen Hearts. AD, again, so strong. So if you don't have a QSS, the Frozen Heart, cuts your potential DPS down by a ton. And so we haven't really been seeing a ton of QSSs just yet. The Quicksilver Sash, as we're picking up some 4-cost units now for overrated NA, who had a pretty fast start, but seems to have tanked some HP right now. And seeing that we leveled up and we're at, about 20 gold, we're definitely in the middle of a pivot.
I'm very surprised, actually, that these items don't go onto a Jace instead they go onto a Gnar 2. Gnar 2 is still, again, I mentioned earlier, a good item carrier. But if we think, what's on the board right now, a Poppy, I guess it gets the value of Yordles, but I think Yordles have kind of served their purpose at this point in the game. We're level 8, rolling down for what's going to be our end game board. Kai'Sa, I think, is the potential there. Maybe they want to go onto a Kai'Sa instead. I think Kai'Sa in this meta actually is, coming back a little bit. Gnar got nerfed, but hey, still good enough, I think, to win this round. Or is he? Maybe I'm speaking too soon. No, okay, Gnar is going to be able to clutch it out.
Yeah, the Rage Blade and the Zeke's definitely helping out with that. Gnar so good with attack speed, so good with literally any item that's not AP based, and even then you can kind of put just kind of see what that looks like. But we do have a Jace now, so someone's gonna really want that Jace. I believe Jace went through some changes in the last round. Where was it? His tank stats were a little better, or was it his backline stats got nerfed?
I know his AD got nerfed, and I think actually his range bonus got nerfed a little bit as well at tier 2. Yeah, I think it was the same at tier 1, but a tier 2 range Jace is a little bit less powerful, so he's not that really overwhelming late game carry that he was previously. Still going to be good, however.
He'd be great with these Gnar items, or at least 2 of them.
Yeah.
As the Dubious Donger, now with Picture, coming in. With the Arcanist comp, we have a different kind of carry for this Arcanist comp. That's going to be the Lucian, but those items could potentially go on a Malzahar, especially with the Hextech Gunblade. You can kind of battery up the rest of your team, and we do find the pivot. Is it going to be on the Malzahar, or is there going to be a Hextech Gunblade on the Ahri?
Maybe Ahri, it looks like, from this positioning here. And there's no mouse on the board, actually. But I would have got the 6 Arcanists with that.
Maybe next time. We're not selling it just yet. We're also keeping the Sir Thomas on the bench just in case we can fit it in. But now it's all about this Ahri trying to get that damage. And if you think about inconsistent damage, the answer is Ahri. When it comes to that, sometimes she ults and it's amazing. I think I saw not too long ago an Ahri kill 7 units on an ult once. Wow. That was nuts, but sometimes she looks to the right and doesn't really touch anybody with those orbs. So we do get the win. We definitely want to get up to 6. Portable Forge is a great item.
Electrocharge 2, not bad as well. I think Electrocharge, went through some changes where it'll be better as the game goes on. It scales with the current stage, and as we're about to be, approaching stage 5, it's going to be buffed up from before. There is the
He's
potential.
Thinking about so small. Look at his face. He's thinking about it.
30% dodge is not bad.
And he's got 3 Yordles, and one of them is an Arcanist. You don't actually need to change anything about about the actual comp. I pick Portable Forge every time. It's just one of my like snap pick augments in general. You're gonna find value from it unless you get like the dreaded Rocket Fist, Black Cleaver, or something like that, Triforce Portable Forge. But maybe we get the Anima Visage, Eternal Winter, Gold Collector. This is a great choice of the 3, and then we're going to put it on the Vex.
Yeah, oh, hits the RA2 as well. That is big. I think there was really the decision making there was, okay, how many AP players and AD players are in the lobby, right? If there's a lot of AD, right, auto attack focus, so small actually had a decent amount of merit. If I think we got another dodge item for that Vex, right? If she has like 50% dodge, she's going to be really, really solid. But has the Eternal Winter, and that was dealt with honestly quite easily in that round versus Ysper. These items have moved over to Irelia and Sivir, and even though they're only tier 1, they were still good enough to get through that Vex without much difficulty. The rest of the front line are only tier 1 units. So yeah, still a bit of catching up to do there as we move over to Lyric Fan, who doesn't have the strongest of boards, but with that has still been able to play it well enough to be, you know, second place in HP right now.
In terms of the power of all these boards, I actually think a lot of people still have the potential to push into that first spot. We do have a formerly best in slot Sivir there with the Rageblade Shiv. Some people adding a couple other items on it. Some people like the Last Whisper to tag it on multiple people. You can get lifesteal on every bounce with a Bloodthirster, for example. Giant Slayer also can go on the Sivir. Probably going to be arguing about her best in slot forever.
Yeah,
to be honest with you, which, you know, is a good thing sometimes. But we're also going to get some 5-cost units now as we hit level 8, and this is what we've been waiting for. This is why we're at 45 HP. We're finally going to get our carry, which is going to be that Renata, and this is something that not a lot of people are used to right now because she was just non-existent in the last patch. Actually, an atrocious unit in the last patch. As we're going to move some things over to the Tahm Kench now as well.
This is a really, really good pivot. I mean, fortunately, the rolls were very kind as well, hit the Renata, but to go into 4 Bruiser from that situation, already had the Zac set up. It doesn't have perfect item Renata, but that is going to be okay, I think. Yes, actually wins the round, and not often players are able to make a pivot that quickly and also come out, you know, winning the next round because of it. That was just, I think, fantastically done by Lyric Fan here. Still a couple more changes to be made to this board, right? I think the Braum is a little bit useless in there. He's going to want to turn into something else a bit later. But really, really good job there from Lyric Fan. And this board, right, with the Tahm Kench, is going to have such a high cap. If Tahm Kench gets farmed with all these stats, gets to start printing some items as well, this board is going to get even more insane. But we know back over to Yippee Maokaye.
And we're over at Hextech now. This is, you're seeing the Enforcer change at the moment. We need a third one, and we have to hit level 9 to fit it in now in order to get that bonus. We have probably the best Sivir on the Convergence right now as well. Look at all that damage. It helps everyone else. A lot of people really underestimate how much that Static Shiv helps the Alistar do damage into the AoE backline, along with the Vi as well. So lots of damage here, but we still want to grab maybe that next Enforcer, maybe another twin shot. We already have our 2 strikers. One is going to be the Jarvan. So curious to see what the last spot is going to go to. Is it going to be the Jace for the Enforcer? Is it going to be something else? Jace would be nice because attack speed.
Yeah, definitely. I think Jace is really nice because the attack speed, as you mentioned, and also the Enforcer as well, right? You get a little bit of everything with that pick. And Sivir ramping up, right, giving her that attack speed just makes her that much more of a powerful threat. That's why, you know, we love items like Zeke's, like Rageblade, just any attack speed stuff. That's part of the reason why, you know, Shiv is also really good, right? Has a bow, attack speed. I think the RFC isn't quite as good as the Rageblade. The potential cap there isn't going to reach as high, and isn't going to be enough this round either.
Wow, that wasn't even close.
No, the Twitch ran right into the Sivir, jumped right into the Sivir, and yeah, is going to come out the victor of that battle. Still is in first place, however.
Honestly, pretty surprised how not close that was, especially since the Twitch did jump right in front of the Sivir, but she didn't target the Twitch right away. The Twitch was the second person that they targeted, so only Shiv damage on the Twitch as the Chalice on the Jinx gets picked up from Mr. Donger and Mr. Kaye as well. You were trying to push even more power. That's the thing about Hextech, is I feel like you can kind of top out really easily on that comp without kind of realizing it, right? You can kind of have everything you need by like 4-4 while everyone is still powering up because there's no super important 5-cost unit for that comp.
Yeah, no, as long as you have your 6 hex tech, maybe you can start to think about, you know, stretching up to 8 hex tech, right? If you push level 9, just with the, you know, amount of units you need on the board, because Alistair, of course, takes up 2 spots. But yeah, you can have everything you need a lot earlier. 100% agree. Looking at what Piba has working with over here, it is 5 innovators. It is going to be that Twitch 3 and Singe 3. Piba knows how to play these compositions, but is the Ahri going to be good enough to deal with it? Where are her orbs going to fly? Are they towards the Twitch? No, they don't hit the Twitch. Braum gets a bit of CC, and oh, Ahri's actually healing up. Can she get another cast off? She does. Takes out the Twitch. Gets the last cast off, wins the round, albeit barely, Boop. That could have gone either way, I think, depending on where these Ahri casts went.
We talked about it earlier, Ahri. Inconsistent potential, right? But also probably responsible for some of the hypest rounds of TFT you'll ever see as well, because she's always one of that unit that will win by 1 ult. Right? It's all about that last couple auto attacks. As we're looking over here, Socialite Hex for the Twitch, only just the 1. But this has been doing quite well so far because Warwick's still pretty good here too. So we've got some strong units in general for this Twitch Evader comp. And honestly, this didn't get super messed with in the changes for the last patch. Specifically, the Twitch version of this that was kind of neutered 2 patches ago, but you know, can still find its way into these top floors for sure. The win is a different question, but as of right now, it actually is looking quite good for Piba here. We got the Twitch pretty early, so we were able to take some HP away a little earlier than usual.
Takes out Lyric Fan. Lyric Fan, I think, had a really, really good pivot. Wasn't able to make it happen, though. That Renata does fall in 6th, and I mean, it's close, right? There's a lot of players, really similar HP totals right now. Dubious Donger with 11, Overrated 12, you know, Quoxy 14. There are going to be another few players falling in just the next couple of rounds as we are in our Dragon PvE state. Get to see the items. Bloodthirster here. Ooh, not the item that Dubious Donger wanted to see, that's for sure.
At this point for this comp, right, with an Arcanist comp, the Bloodthirster is a shield for when they get low in HP. Curious to see where it would go. As of right now, it's actually the Morgana, probably, who will get the Bloodthirster if we don't put another tank in, because I think the Morgana is probably going to do the best with the shield at this point.
Another Vex 2 goes in. Not the best addition at level 9. But I guess not the worst either. Could go Morgana, could go Braum. Yeah, it's going to be Braum.
Oh, Braum goes towards the front line. Might get, almost gets the Sivir. Oh, actually gets QSS on the Sivir anyway. So it's going to be all about the Ahri pushing that damage. Not enough lifesteal. 2 units remaining. It's going to be Victor versus Sivir. Is the Sivir going to be able to take it? Sivir doesn't take any damage from the Victor ult, but is this enough? Is the Vex enough to take her down?
Shield?
I think it is going to be enough because of Eternal Winter.
Wow.
We get 2 shields going at the same time, but is that going to be enough? Yes, it is, as Vex takes the dub. Portable Forge, good augment, friends.
Not the 1v1 I would expect to go the way of Vex from that situation, but Eternal Winter diff. Sivir got stunned, allowed Vex time to get that shield again. When it exploded, Sivir was gone.
It was almost like running in a dream is what it felt like Sivir was doing, right? No matter how hard you're pushing, you're still going the same speed. And that's kind of what it felt like there. And that's why the Rage Blade is so good on her. Imagine the difference at that point in time. But RFC going to be helping with any sort of dodge, so it's going to be nice for things like this Warwick. With the Shroud, we do have a good swap here, so the Twitch is going to target the Sivir last. We just got to get the Sivir onto the Twitch to make sure that we we can keep pushing an advantage. We only have 11 HP though, so we're potentially on our last round.
Yeah, this actually might be beneficial for Piba's board here. This positioning, wow, okay, the Sivir was safe enough, though, actually, with that RFC. She got to stay in a safe position. Allow UB Maokai the win. Quoxty goes out in 5th, so we have our top 4. Piba gets to push this comp to critical mass here at level 9. Going to be making a couple more changes as well. Gets to run a couple of Scholars. Or mana generation, running things like Seraphine. Syndra even, you know, does a lot of work with just utility.
It was the main reason why Vel'Koz was a carry a set ago, was the Syndra ultimate. So we're going to use the Shroud on the Zilean. The Victor is still tier 1, and the Ahri is only ulting the Bear right now. So this is a pretty good start for Piba. Nice ults all around in terms of those AoE ultimates. The lasers come through.
Ooh, Ahri!
Ahri, though.
Got the Twitch.
Ahri got the Twitch, and when the Twitch is gone, so is your comp. 4 HP is not going to be enough, as Twitch evaders do fall off. 4th place. You know, this was a very interesting kind of lobby, like a lot of power in the reroll, but everything kind of seemed to level out here at the end, as 1st to 4th had a difference between 8 HP, as we're going to get some more stats for our units. A Zeke's here for overrated.
Dubious Donger just massively outplayed Piba, I think there. Dubious Donger knows that Piba is going to be positioning this Twitch opposite side of the carry, right? So Twitch is going to be able to jump into the back line, be safe, and just cleave the rest of the comp down. But Dubious Donger actually put the Eternal Winter Vex in the back, so Twitch got stuck on it and took long enough for the Ahri to be able to turn her attention over to that Twitch, snipe him, and win the round. And Piba, with that insane kind of, I think, like high roll position with those Twitch evaders, ends up 4th because of it. But now we're down to our top 2, Overrated and Dubious Donger. Victor 2 now for Dubious Donger's board, but this Sivir, these Hex Techs are so strong.
Yeah, and this Sivir has that Rage Blade, right? We're seeing a little bit of the difference there. And we've got the double Zeeks, but the Victor is too strong as Dubious Donger does the damage. You know, the thing about Victor is you got to take him out before that first ult, maybe the second one, but you let that damage through, it's going to rip up your team as it did those Hex Techs. And so that wasn't the best option for that Sivir. The Victor was able to take it down, as both our Sivir comps finish below 1st place. We got a Twitch evader in a 4th place as well. So definitely seeing a ton more Hex Techs. That was 100% what stuck out at me. And there were 0 reroll Warwick.
I was going to say, that's what stuck out to me. The 0 reroll Warwicks. What happened? Oh, man. Maybe we'll see some here as we do hop over into Lobby B.
Yeah,
and
we do.
yes, there are indeed. I think there's one, and then we see the clone army here. Yeah, it's the same Warwick. So it is in a top 3 situation. Know that it's strong. It also features a Quinn 3 as well with 3 items. And yeah, look at this Warwick. It just runs over everything so quickly. That's going to be 3rd place for whose Stepsis? Who made their name Stepsis?
Oh no, they're stuck on the carousel.
Oh no.
But anyway, Mercurial now, 43 HP in 1st place. We're running the Warwick. Harukamaki, our defending champion from last week. We have 7 mutant versus the reroll Warwick. So we get to really see this push through. I wonder what mutant we have. It's on Ahri, so I assume it's Synaptic, but you never know. And this is also Unstable Evolution, so this is a pretty strong comp. So Mercurial might be able to take down this Warwick, especially with this Kaisa.
Yeah, looks like Synaptic from seeing these mana pools here on the board. This is such a strong mutant board, however. Haruko Amaki, you know, 9 HP versus the 43 of Mercurial. See if it's enough here.
All right, it does look like it is Synaptic, as the Ahri is ulting between every auto attack. But the Warwick's on the Ahri! Kaisa, so much damage and just too much to deal with, as Mercurial will take the dub here with a 7 mutant comp. So we did get to see Warwick reroll for a hot second, but the got second. We didn't see the 1st place there, so we're gonna see it at some point, I'm sure. But so far today, it hasn't been as impressive as one might think.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of hard. I think even if you get like a DreamWorks start, it's hard to beat a 7 mutant Ari having Kaisa 2, Malzahar 3. That's probably one of the most insane cap boards that you can get in TFT right now. But with that said and done, we know that the mutants won the lobby. And then we know what won the other lobby actually? It's blanking. I'm blanking on it, but
It wasn't Sivir.
it was the Arcanists. It was the
Oh, it was the
Arcanists.
Arcanist.
So
You're
yeah,
right.
let's
Yeah,
go ahead
yeah,
and
it
take a
was the
look at the
Arcanist.
scores and see where that all laid out. Yes, it was Dubious Donger with the Arcanist, right? The Victor 2 and the Ari winning on Lobby A. Overrated, however, got second. You beat Malkaye third and Piva fourth. In Lobby B, Mercurial, Harukawamaki, Stubsis, and a good Wobbler, the top four there.
Okay, so nice top four coming in from all of these players. So now everyone kind of has the opportunity to gauge where they are right now. So if you're K3U or Axmos, you got to kind of have to win the next lobby. You got to push it all on the second one. If you're in the top two right now, you kind of gauge where you are during the lobby instead as we're looking at our top 8.
Yep, the left side of the screen is where you want to be after 3 games, Boop, and we have a little bit of a trend here. The top 4 from last week, Harakawa Maki, Mercurial, Piba, and Yubimaka, all top 4 their first lobby. So definitely some consistency that we love to see out of top Fight Night performers. But there's still, 2 more games to go, so there's still the comeback potential from the players on the right-hand side there for now.
Yeah, like you said, 2 games to go. I'd be surprised if the top 8 right now are the top 8 moving on. It's so hard to be consistent, even through just 3 initial lobbies to get into the final today. So, again, super curious how many times we're going to see Warwicks get challenged. If the QSS is going to be the reason why the Warwick is good, that's been kind of my theory so far. So we shall see what happens to Warwick and the rest of the comps as we move into our other lobbies.
Yep, got to see 1 comp out of the 2 lobbies. I'm sure we'll see more, but for now we gotta head to a quick break, but don't go anywhere because we'll be right back with more Fight Night Rising. We're back with more Fight Night Rising brought to you by Wisdom. Game 1 down, but still 2 more games to decide who is going to be our top 8 and move forward into that final lobby. Boop, we saw the tail end of Lobby B, but now we're going to get a chance to see all of it throughout the entirety. We saw the fact that those mutants did win. 7 mutants came first place over that Warwick composition, but at least there's a lobby where there is Warwick, right? I guess I say at least. Like, it's not that I want to see Warwick, right? It's not really that exciting of a composition, but we know it's good in the meta. And so the players that are going to be able to get there, right, are going to be able to do it in a very dominant fashion and kind of display their skill that way, right? But it's also really skillful to see who can come out on top and why, as we saw, happen there.
Well, if I remember correctly, when things like Warwick and Jax and these kind of like frontline auto attack based carries were popular, it was all because of QSS back in the day, right? Yeah. So it was the fact that they could ramp up for 15 seconds with almost no consequences at the beginning of the game. So I'm curious to see if it's actually the item that's enabling Warwick so hard, or is it the unit that is actually pushing Warwick up to, S tier viability according to a lot of people. Even though we did get a couple nerfs, we're not healing as much, our base AD has been affected, but everything around Warwick in those comps are doing just fine. And the items just work so well on him. QSS on Warwick just works so well.
Yeah, definitely. Items are very needed for the Warwick to do as much as he does. I think I'm really with you there. Quicksilver, an absolute must. If you don't have Quicksilver, Warwick is probably going to get CC'd at some point and probably just going to get bursted down, right? The reason that Quicksilver is so good, and with pairing with Rageblade, allows him to stack up that Rageblade attack speed, allows him to keep on healing to sustain himself. And, by the time the Quicksilver falls off, he's kind of already reached, use the term, I'll use it again, critical mass, right? He's going to be probably taking out half of the board. There's not going to be as much threat to deal with him, and you're going to be able to sustain through the rest of it, as well as the utility with what that rest of the comp provides, right? Quinn, we saw a Quinn 3 in that last game with 3 items. She's going to be disarming, buying Warwick more time, right? It's just, and he doesn't even need that much to begin with, so...
Yeah, a lot of the carries right now, Jhin, Warwick, they need that time, right? But some of them are a lot better at taking time for themselves, like the Warwick, right? It can enable himself. You're in the front line. The second you start attacking, the better he gets. Versus Jhin, who needs the people around him to create that time for him. He's going to He's going to be stable in the back line in a single hex, and you're going to try to get as many units in at that ultimate as possible. So there is different kinds of enabling there, but both might benefit from something like a QSS in general. I've been building a ton of it. I even put it on my frontliners sometimes if I end up with one on a carousel just for the dodge. It can really, really help against things like Warwick. I think QSS Vex had a slight moment for 2 days about a month ago. But, things can happen. We might get a so small comp that can absolutely destroy something like Warwick. But you got to see it coming.
True.
That's the problem with so small.
Almost got a chance to see it in that last game, but no, it was the Portable Forge instead, which, did a lot of work. So can't quite say that was a bad decision. In fact, it was a very good one. Now we're going to be getting on into game number 2. Here in Lobby B on board with Mercurial, who won last lobby with those 7 mutants, a very high roll board. Not always going to get that, but is going to start the game with a rod. So is trending towards AP a lot more.
I've been seeing some Caitlyn with Shojins out there in the wild as well. I haven't seen it get over 6th place just yet, but they exist. And I actually think there's some weight to it if you're able to get that reroll option on the Caitlyn with a couple Shojins on it. I saw Nubal trying it the other day. He really likes to play snipers when he gets the chance to. Likes Jhin.
Okay, interesting.
But we do have a couple Hex Techs now, and this is probably one of the stronger early game comps you can ask for as a Hex Tech comp. But we also have a pretty big front line right now, so it's kind of either or right now for Mercurial, who's probably named after Mercurial Scimitar, an old item in League of Legends.
That is true. Love the item. Love the Bruiser frontline as well. Bruiser frontline is very, very strong. Having Morello's, right? This is kind of yelling the pieces for Renata, actually. No tears there for Blue Buff. Yeah, Bruiser Heart. Get a Sejuani. This could just be 4 Bruiser opener.
We get the Sejuani, we get the 4 bruisers, and we're probably going to get Hex Tech benefits. We're thinking about it because item grab bag is always a good option as well.
Yeah.
Right? It's an extra component that doesn't count towards your regular components that you get through the item. So that's just extra power that other people who don't pick item grab bag will have. But we're actually going to get something a little bit more general, which is Phalanx here. I'd actually probably would have gone with bruisers. Maybe we're not a Renata player, so that could be the case. There are just some people who are averse to certain comps. Like I don't play Yordles, right? I don't play Irelia. I just don't do it. It's not something that I'm attracted to. But you give me 2 bows, I'm gonna be playing Warwick, right? So I'll probably be heavily more into that boat. But now we're going to be a little bit more general here, give everyone stats instead of do, a 4 bruiser thing, which might sound like it falls off, but maybe if you're Khroen again, not even convinced that Renata is back.
Maybe not. She did go 6th, I believe, in Lobby A. Had a bad matchup versus the Piba Twitch evaders. There is Twitch here, but leveling up means that this is not going to be reroll Twitch. It's just going to be enabling this Nocturne. I would have thought, actually, with these items, it could have been a Rageblade Slam Nocturne. I think Nocturne's actually really, really good at carrying in the early game with a bunch of different items. Might be a Rageblade Slam anyway, actually, just onto the Twitch instead, and it will be to try to win this round. See if it is gonna be round 1.
Personally blame Jirachi. I think someone was running the Nocturne to carry items for Talon that he didn't have yet and had a double RFC on it, and it destroyed my world.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the ultimate. There are, I think, some early game builds that you can hold on. Unfortunately, you're transferring items to like a tier 2 unit, but I don't think Nocturnes is as bad as a lot of people say, especially in the early game if you're able to tier 2 it at 2-1.
I think that fight could have been a win for Mercurial if the Rageblade was on the Nocturne. Now at least the Twitch gets upgraded into tier 2. Gonna be doing a lot more work there. Starting off the round with a loss, and the people who lost the first round lost by 4 units. Mercurial lost only by 3, but the rest of the people did not have strong boards at all. Moving over to FX Ninja. Ninja having just Hex Techs, working with here.
Wow, a lot of people doing early game Hex Techs. It's going to be a question of who stays and who goes off of the Hex Tech eventually, because you can go a bunch of directions with Hex Techs, right? There's a reason why there's not a lot of late game Hex Techs, because you can add some other Hex Techs in, or use something like an Irelia with your Jarvan. So you have some options to go in and out of this, and maybe even just splash 2 or 4 on that synergy. We did see someone commit to the 6, and it did get that top 4. I believe 2 Sivir comps made it into the top 4, one with an RC, one with a Rageblade.
They did indeed. So we're very good. This is a good opener for it. Ninja getting 4 Hex Tech in, especially with back foot. All right, if you're in the back 2 rows, you get more attack speed. That is perfect augment for a Sivir. Sivir items aren't quite here. All right, with that Rageblade, Shiv. We have a piece of the Shiv. Need to get there, however, and 10 gold, getting a little bit of econ. There is a mercenary player as well. That's always a very, very spicy dynamic for the lobby. When are they going to cash out? How hard are they going to cap? We'll see a little bit later.
We have our 4 spot right now, moving up against a good wobble. So this is kind of a who gets to pick first on carousel battle. And right now it's going to be a good wobble taking a pretty big loss. And this is the worry sometimes when you're consistently losing by 4 units. Are you going to have the time to kind of steer the plane back up? It's usually maybe right for some of these players. It depends if they're hitting on their level 7s and if they're able to kind of consistently win at least a couple rounds during a stage 4, because all of the players on the bottom side of the leaderboard will be trying to get stronger around stage 4 and overcome whoever is at top. So in terms of power level, they're going to try to inch past the top 4 during like stage 3-5 into like 4-3, 4-4, as some people are going to be playing that a little bit slower at level 7.
Yeah, definitely. One player going to 5 aggressively. Always interesting to see how many players are willing to go 5 on, pre that stage 2 carousel. It was just Pro Viber here, of course, 100 HP. Axmos as well. Might run into each other a bit later, but looking at Stepsis's board here, just checks the Socialite Hex. Good for a front line, but not for back line. Sells the Vex for a bit of Econ. Yeah, we're just, playing a weak board, but Econ's the name of the game for a lot of players, right? Especially like a good wobble, Lil Chief there at the bottom. They're not going to be strong, so you got to get your Econ coming through to try to salvage it in that mid to late game.
Yep, econ is how you overcome a weak board. If you have a strong board, you need to maintain econ because you've been investing it, right? And that's kind of the give and take of TFT. So you're going to be seeing most of the people in the top 3 investing most of their money. So they're going to be the ones that are going to be leveling up most likely. The bottom of the leaderboard are all probably slow playing at this point in time. You're already losing. There's no reason to level up. Unless you're really pushing for specific units, which is not happening here for Stepsis.
Yeah. Wow, one more round to go, and a good wobble and Lil Chief are both sub 70 HP. Real
Peebo was at 56, and it's one of the lowest I've seen at this point. So
yeah,
we are close. I mean, to put that into perspective, Stepsis has 84 and has lost 2 rounds. So those 2 extra rounds have taken almost 20 extra HP away from Lil Chief in a good wobble. As Stepsis, everyone's in the corner.
Yeah, it's actually a good opener for Stepsis, actually winning the first 2 and then being able to chain 3 losses, moving into neutrals. Has 40 gold as well. Isn't going to be, again, as you said, is 84 right now. Isn't going to be that hurting in terms of HP. Yeah, this is a really, really good opener. You have multiple options. You're going to have more time than some of these players on the bottom of the leaderboard. Maybe with that can go something like a fast level 8 on 4-1 or 4-2 to roll down. And you kind of get your direction from there. Having some solid items, maybe we're going to be thinking about Sivir, right? We have the Morellos, I think, already on a Ziggs. That can go onto an Alistair easily enough. Rageblade on the Sivir. Boom, already have direction. Doesn't have to be that, however. It still can be a lot of other options. We'll see.
Yeah, and looking at the rest of the lobby, 2 of our players are substantially stronger than everyone else. Again, Stepsis playing, a comp that would normally be 8th place at this point in time, for example, and it's just not. So we have Axmos and Pro Viber at 100 HP, and the reason why I say they're so much stronger, 3rd place has 86, so they're pushing the lobby down, but there's going to be someone who's kind of hanging on for dear life that will eventually be able to climb back up. The goal for Axmos and Pro Viber is to limit the amount of time that players have that ability to do that. So they want to push as much damage as soon and as quickly as possible. So we're going to continue being quite aggressive from that point on, from the top of the leaderboard. As you can see that the bottom side of the leaderboard here with Stepsis has 50 gold already, right? Yep. And there is no gold on that board that we just scouted. So yeah, pretty traditional so far. Crazy.
Ooh, Shiv and a Rageblade. Okay, talk about a Sivir pivot. This is pretty perfect. I wouldn't mind slaying both these items, actually, because it would allow Stepsis to, if not stabilize and start to go on a win streak, minimize the losses, right? That's a big thing that every single TFT player is going to have to do at some point or another, is know how to minimize losses. That could be the difference between a 6th place and a 4th, right? That's the difference between winning tournaments and not. What are they going to do? With the Rageblade and a tier for... Oh, no, actually... Ooh, try to put everything, it looked like, but the scrap made a Shojin. It's not the end of the world, right? That's still fine. But the willingness to slam items is there, and I really, really like that.
I do as well. So I like when, you have the ability to invest and you're going to be able to take out of it. So let's slam those items, especially on someone like the Ziggs, who you're not going to feel pressured to keep items on, right? Sometimes we put emblems on some units and all of a sudden we have a tier 3 version of it and the emblem is stuck, right? That is not going to be the case for the Ziggs here. It's going to be super easy to sell him, especially since he's so bad at throwing that bomb. But with at least this Rageblade, though, his auto attack damage is not the weakest in the game. No. Right, especially with this Shiv too. Ziggs is actually gonna be on the top side of this damage chart for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%, especially with all these items. Everything else is just a Ziggs bodyguard, right? Protect the Ziggs, surround him, allow him to do enough damage, and everything is backlined as well, so the Ziggs is actually a lot less likely to miss some bombs because things are going to walk towards him. That's less time they're going to be spent, you know, in the late portions of the fight walking towards them. I say that, and Ziggs is probably still going to miss some bombs, but hey, it's doing pretty good for now. Little Chief on the other side has the mercs. Is this going to be cash out time? It doesn't look like it. I think Ziggs bomb here. Okay, it did miss, but it was actually good enough to catch it with the, you know, the edge of the damage.
You just never know.
You really do. You really never know. Yeah.
For your neighborhood snowball fight, for your neighborhood water balloon fight, Ziggs is going to be picked last. As Stepsis now getting another generalized augment. Some basic augments here. First aid, though, on this particular group. So first aid is very interactive with socialites, for example. So anything that provides shielding and healing. So first aid almost assuredly leads to Seraphine by the end of the game. But you know, things like Vex, for example, get tons of benefit from a little bit of extra shielding, and it's nothing to, you know, ignore when it comes to first aid. It is a difference maker, and there are specific augments that work with first aid really well as too. So I wonder what the third augment is going to be. We also have a tome, so we have a lot of options here once we do kind of decide where we're going, as we also have an item holder Ziggs on this board. This looks to be moving towards Arcanists right now.
Another item holder Ziggs. Ziggs is just you know, top of the priority list for a lot of players, or maybe just what they happen to roll into. All right, but these items in the Ziggs can be a bit better than just a Malzahar 1. Nice phony frontline positioning there is going to be Blitzcrank Hook Bait up against Axmos, who's running triple item Malzahar, who looks like a Sivir item carrier and probably will be, or maybe Draven, because there is a Draven on the bench there. See if Harukamaki can snap Axmos' streak. Looking likely. But Ziggs still gonna do it though. Snaps the streak.
We are going to use the Ziggs to get on fire, and like you said, Axmos does get his streak snapped. But you know, if you're gonna get your streak snapped, that's the round you want to do it, the round before carousel, so you can streak whatever you just happen to into PvE, unless you just went up against the one comp you can't beat, and then you're kind of just unfortunately got to restart that economy, as we have a pretty heavily defensive carousel left over. We got some bows, but a lot of belts.
Belt's one on Seraphine unit that you pointed out earlier, Boop, is one that you know, works out with the shielding of in healing of first aid kit. Harukamaki does not get that though, went over to somebody else. As Harukamaki is on a 5 streak now, still has that tome, and that's a really, really big deal. Being able to streak while still having this tome, being able to spike a lot harder later on for it, really gonna have to keep an eye on that and what it turns into a bit later. As we move over to Lil Chief, who, 60 gold, level 7 on 3-5, 8 loss for this potential Merc cash out. Once they cash out, Lil Chief's going to have a lot to do, but a lot of power, a lot of gold, a lot of ways to make this board really strong.
All right, we got the Caitlyn with the Shiv. It's so funny. It seems like Caitlyn is like the unit that everyone wants to make different. Yeah. Right, they just want to make her work somehow, but you know, the Shojin seem to be the way to do it as of right now. And even with the Shiv there, not quite. Lil Chief though has a ton of gold in a Merc cash out on the way potentially.
Time is running out for Lil Chief to cash out and still feel comfortable in having enough time to transition and you know, not run into any bad matchups and just, you know, get one hit later on into the game. Some may say right now is kind of do or die time for Lil Chief, but how can this board be improved upon? There's maybe by leveling up, and wow, yeah. All right, an aggressive level up is rolling, finds a Jhin too. Ooh-wee, okay. That should be enough to cash out with, even though it doesn't have any items. I think that's gonna be just fine.
You're gonna be good to go, as we have no gold and a Jhin 2 and a very winnable matchup ahead of us. Oh yeah, it's going to be another Twitch Evader comp. The Deathblade on the Twitch is so very, very good because we do get that Twitch to tier 3. And the Twitch did get a dodge off.
the glove diff.
Love the dodge, but that is going to be a big victory against a good Wappo who is still at level 5 here at 3.6. Needs to get 2 levels before the end of stage 4 if we're even going to be close to getting, as we almost didn't make it to the PvE round, and we might not make it to the last augment.
Yeah, 9 HP on 3.6? Yeah, that's yeah, insanely low. But now Little Chief, the pivot is here. It is time. Going to be selling off a lot of the board to make room on this bench. Tome, some units, a lot of items. Not a ton of gold, but the items are the biggest thing here. There's already an IE Last Whisper pairing. Shiv can go onto the Sivir. Could be a Rage Blade, actually, as well, for the Sivir if you don't want to lean into that Jhin. But it's already a Jhin 2. So I think the commit is going to be there. Oh, so many items.
Yeah, great items here. Almost too much of a good thing when it comes to these items. So we have perfect Sivir items if we want them. We also have a Tome still, so we could get another Hextech in through the Tome. We have the Jace to fit in a potential Enforcer angle. We have, the Silco from Arcane was sold, but can be very good with the Sivir. But we only have the 1 copy. We actually have more Jaces than we do Sivirs right now.
It's just gonna be a Hextech Sivir pivot, Boop. Even with the hit onto the Jhin, Little Chief is unwilling to really put many resources into it. What do you make of that, right? Is Sivir really that strong right now that you just ignore a tier 2 unit like the Jhin and just go into a Sivir 1?
Unlike the Alistar, who ignored all the units on the field during that ultimate, I actually think we're going to slap a Hextech spat potentially on the Jhin. So let's see if that's going to be
nice.
The case here. So we take one of the items out to put a spat item on them, because we could technically get an Enforcer spat there as well once that Tome comes out. The Curiel does get the Sivir 2 first, though, as... What I read as puberty is not what is on the screen as pro Viber.
Pro Viber.
But you totally see how I got that anyway.
Yeah,
Pro Viber now has the Thief's Gloves on the Braum. So Braum, not the best Thief's Gloves holder in the world, but should be nice with the QSS, actually. Probably the better item there. And we have a backline to go with our Irelia.
A rare built different board, Boop. We don't really see much of that anymore, especially a tier 1 variant. This is already falling off, however, and it's a Talon that's the item carrier. Pro Viber is going to keep, accruing losses throughout stage 4, get to a point where I think they can actually, go level 8, but then what's your pivot, right? I guess there's Dravens on the bench. It's just awkward. You're going to be playing an item down at that point. Generally, if you play built different, it's going to be because you want to get this massive lead, not to just be middle of the pack in HP.
If you're not at like 100 HP, potentially at even Wolves, right? Built different can get you there almost with no problem. It makes every unit that you put on the board super strong, right? But you just can't have any of those synergies, and that can be really tough for some people. It's the literal opposite way to play TFT. If you're struggling with built different at home, think about no synergies as the synergy. That does help some people try to fight through built different, but unless it's built different 3, I don't even think it's worth it, because even built different 3 falls off near the end of the game, and you have to start splashing in your socialites and stuff like that to help you across the finish line, because built different 3 is a guaranteed top 4 in my opinion, but not necessarily a lobby win most of the time.
Pro Viber, the losses keep coming through, is now bottom 4 in the lobby. I'm really, really curious to see what this pivot is going to be. There's a Giant Slayer. There's a Quicksilver. And I don't know. I'm not a bit later, though, as move over to Ninja, who is in first place in this lobby. Not in any dominating fashion, though. This first place is actually coming through with just having a Lucian as the item carrier, right? Again, another player in that Sivir waiting room. There's like 3 Sivir players at least here, I think.
I wonder why we haven't seen any Twin Shop comps. Those were pretty popular last patch. Might be the ED changes. So we haven't seen a single Twin Shot comp just yet, but this did end up going into a Hextech board, as in Irelia 2 does pop in.
Yeah. Where's the Sivir? They're all gone. They're actually all gone. I mean, not all of them, obviously, but a lot of them.
Everyone playing Hextech. It's just such an easy synergy to play with, right? Again, you get the 6 spot without having to need any extra spats,
no.
right? But we don't even get all of our items in. Zeke's is going to end up on the newly nerfed Irelia. Needs a whole extra auto attack to get to the Blade Surge, and it's a lot more difficult for her to get those resets going, especially up against the team that you want, right? With the Sivir, with the Rage Blade, and the Shiv. Last Whisper, though, is going to be the choice for that one. Last Whisper, a nice consolary item. It's going to be a little bit harder to ramp up without the QSS, but you're going to tag a potential armor debuff on everyone who it bounces to. Celestial Blessing, also very good for this comp.
There we go. Selling an Irelia, too.
Any comp that has a unit like Sivir in it that can tag damage, Celestial Blessing is actually really great at it. And I believe everyone getting the Hextech buff anyway right now because of, I think that's the augment that they chose.
Oh, Hextech Unity? Is that one? Or wait, I actually don't know offhand.
It's a very rare one. We're probably going to be seeing it a lot more as Hextechs do seem to be a very solid top 4 comp. Reminds me of Cultists. From back in the day, right? You knew you could lock in Cultists, right? But how you got out of Cultists and how you finished with Cultists was kind of where the great and the good were separated, and I do believe that's pretty similar here for this Hextech comp. There's a 7 Hextech comp on the board, built different still, but the HP totals once again getting closer and closer as we enter stage 5.
Ooh, Arakawamaki. The Victor board. Triple item Victor has a Shojins. These Victor casts can make or break a fight. Where is it going to hit? That's the only cast is going to get off, and it's not going to do nearly enough, unfortunately. For Harukawa is, the Hextech's just clean up at this point. Double Zeke's buffing the Sivir too. That's a really, really big deal. Ninja will fall off, though, if they don't get the Sivir too. And again, it's going to be really, really hard to find this Sivir too, especially with... having not a lot of gold right in the bank right now.
His bank account looking a little empty right now. Just a little bit of pocket lint as you reach down for your one piece. As we go into our last PvE round, so we're probably going to get 1 or 2 components and maybe some gold here for Ninja. Man, there are so many Hextech boards.
I know,
a lot of shielding
crazy.
too. There's a scrap board there as well. So, this is where first aid, like when I was talking about boards that can benefit from things like first aid, Hextech is the one that you should really be thinking about when it comes to using something like first aid. We'll talk about that when we get there. Stepsis gets the Sivir 2 before Ninja. That's unfortunate.
Yep. Definitely. And also the augment is Hex Nova. It's
Hex
when the
Nova. So it's the one where they mana reave.
Yep. They drop below 6% health and they mana reave. So still a lot of good synergy there. Oh, Mercurial, this is a pretty good looking Sivir board here. Got a triple item Alistair 2, Bruiser emblem at that. 7 Hextech. Little bit awkward. It's running the 7 Hextech. But you need level 9 to fit in the 8 Hextech. And Mercurial's on pace to go there, right? Still has 50 gold. And winning rounds, I think? Oh, wait a minute, maybe not. Oh, so close, but we'll actually lose that one. Proviber's pivot over to Draven works out great from that build different board.
Our first Draven as well that we're seeing today in this lobby. Nice amount of gold too for Mercurial. 60 gold at level 8, 36 HP. It's almost exactly where you want to be. We have an okay Sivir. I like USS. I think USS is one of the best items in the game. It's one of my just favorite items. And I just think it's so good from the little bit of dodge that you get and the attack speed that you're going to get with it. Hextech Gunblade going to be helpful as well, but it's really the Sivirs right now. Are they going to kind of get into the second and third again? It does seem like a pretty good top 4 comp, but unfortunately for FX, right? We know that 6 Sivirs at least already out of the out of the table. 7 with the one that you own already. So there's 4 at most still available for you.
Yeah, that is not great, though. Not great. Only having that many Sivirs left, and Stepsis maybe taking a big hit there. Down to
Ninja
3.
would love Stepsis to get eliminated.
Oh yeah,
at
really
this point in
nice.
time, then the attrition that we've built at the top of the leaderboard is going to pay off. We're going to roll into the Sivers, but until we get there, Ninja's going to have to wait. His little chief gets a Siver too as well.
Oh man, this is just Siver fight tactics really here.
Yeah, that means Ninja literally cannot get a Siver 2.
Crazy.
Until someone gets eliminated. But it goes to show how good this Hextech comp is that, 3 people can run it at the moment, as we also have 8 Hextech here for Mercurial, thanks to a couple emblems. That's going to be a pretty big shield. A good person to look at is the Lucian, and just look how much, in terms of HP versus shield, it's almost 50-50 when it comes to that Lucian. And with so many other Hextech comps, having the 8 Hextech, you're going to have more functional HP and shielding to use against it. You're probably going to win against those other Hextech comps as well.
Well, Mercurial took out Lil Chief, so 3 Sivers back in the pool, Boop. That's the thing. If you're, 3 or 4 players running the same comp, yeah, even if you hit, sometimes you're just going to be weaker than those other players. Maybe you hit a little bit too late, had too little HP, as was the case with Lil Chief. Unfortunate there. And I think that does beg the question, maybe it was better from the Merc cash out to commit to a Jhin, right? It took a long time, or maybe a couple of rounds, to get into that Siver, and during those couple of rounds, lost a little bit more HP.
Well, the interesting thing about it is we went Siver because we saw the items, right? But I don't think we actually scouted when we made that decision. So if we had scouted, we either said, I know other people are going Hextech, I just cashed out Merc, so I think I'm going to be able to hit, right? That might have been the question that was kind of answered for you, but I don't think that's what happened in Ninja, unfortunately. So we still, even with that elimination, have just the tier 1 Siver. That's not going to be enough to win any lobby. And looking at this Draven, so much damage so quickly. Pretty clutch Orianna ult there at the end as well. The Siver doing pretty good, though. Shocking win, in my opinion. I don't think Draven should lose the Siver really ever in a 1v1, but we just saw it.
It was only a tier 1 Draven. Once it hits tier 2, then 100% it shouldn't lose. That Siver, though, ramped up. I mean, hey, Draven's ramping up, too. Draven does have a Rage Blade. There's Last Whisper IE. But going back to the conversation about the items that Lil Chief had, Lil Chief did have solid Siver items, but also had really good Jhin items. I think the potential was there for Last Whisper IE Giant Slayer. Or if not, then another good third item. So yeah, had direction for both. Just a lot of tunnel vision, I think, onto these Hextechs.
It's been the Hextech lobby for sure. People trying to find the best way to counter it. Victor is a pretty good option, but this is a Draven versus Draven board right now. One has Disintegrator, though. Disintegrator very good against high HP targets.
Silco.
And Silco, though, is going to... Oh, no! Silco is a double-edged sword, my friends. Doesn't help us this time around.
No, it does not. Stepsis goes out in 5th, and we have our top 4. Ninja still in 1st place. I think still has a Siver 1 as well. Very, very surprising. But as you mentioned just a little bit ago, Siver 1 is not going to be good enough to win the lobby. They could hit Siver 2, though, because a lot of Sivers are back in the pool.
Thank goodness for Ninja, who is able to win those rounds, even competing against 3 other Siver comps, all of which got the Siver 2. So, if you need some bragging rights, I think we did get them if you're Ninja. As we finally get there, Siver 2 landing.
Hey, there we go.
A fashionably late 6-1.
Where's Draven? No one's contesting Draven, but Maharu Kawamaki still can't find it.
Oh, there's 2 Draven players.
Oh, wait, there is actually
there's 2 Draven players. And I think the other Draven player with Silco is Draven 2.
That's fair. Okay, here we go. Yes, there is one more Draven player. Okay. That would be crazy. Oh, actually, it's still running built different. Still playing no synergies besides for Silco, of course, being a mastermind. Doesn't really get a lot of value out of Silco there. But hey, getting top 4 from here, that's a high roll. We take those.
Yeah, Draven's a great built different carry, by the way, because the attack speed that you get from built different is enough to drop the Rage Blade on the build here. So we're going to go raw damage. Ooh, that was a little bit
wow.
close, but build different difference. Built diff.
Built diff. Oh man, as that thrill as well. Draven doesn't have any healing with this build, but gets it with that augment. What a board. Really surprising. I actually, I think this begs the question, would Draven be stronger if ProViber ignored the build different augment and just went into a Draven build, right? Ran some Debonaires, ran some good frontline, ran a Challenger as well to synergize. It might actually be stronger, but it's not like this is doing poorly at all, by any means, actually. Draven's still really, really good.
Again, it has the attack speed, right?
Yep.
And Draven just really needs attack speed to do anything, and it's going to be a flat amount, because even with the Rage Blade, you're sometimes going to get to this attack speed anyway with the Rage Blade, and you're going to get it automatically here, but that's going to be it. Built Different gets a top 4. Built Different 1 gets a top 4 in the Hextech lobby of today. Mercurial running one of those Hextech comps. This one, though, has the 8 version Chase Hextech.
Yep. So this top 4, Boop, is 2 Sivir players and 2 Draven players, yeah?
Oh, yeah. It looks like it. We got a 50-50 going on.
Very, very interesting, actually. We saw the dominance of AP in game number 1. AP, with the mutants, one in lobby B. And lobby A was Ari Victor board, but no AP to be found on these boards.
Not at all.
The Seraphine
the first aid board, right, that did get into the Seraphine, right, is going to be helping out. So that's going to be getting those heals onto the Draven, for example. The Sivir is starting to really push that damage. We got to get to the Alistar, who is mana reaved as well. Sivir versus Sivir, who's going to be doing more, and it's going to be Ninja.
Ooh, double kill.
On that one, that's a double elimination. As
fast lobby.
What was the most hextechiest lobby I have ever witnessed in my life? 4 people ran Hextech on that lobby. 3 of them got Sivir 2, 4 of them eventually, and 2 of them ended in the top 4. So pretty good comp right now. I think the changes were pretty good.
It seems like they were, yeah. That was kind of crazy. There was 4 Sivir compositions, 2 Draven, 1 reroll comp that I think went 8th, reroll like Twitch, and 1 other comp. I'm not sure what it was, but yeah, really no AP besides that Seraphine to be found. I think we're gonna get a chance. The lobby ended pretty quick, but gonna get a chance to go into lobby A here soon to check out what's happening there. We'll see if it's a bit of a different story as we have Piba once again with Twitch evaders in the top 2.
People ran Twitch evaders, I believe, every single time last time.
Did he really? Was every game?
I think so.
Oh, wow.
So Piba was, we talk about flexibility, but sometimes when these flexible players do 20 out of 20, it's like a really great learning experience, right? They're like, oh, this is why people do that.
Yeah.
And I think we're seeing it right now. Just so much more predictable when you take variables of flexibility out. However, flexible players will more likely win lobbies than top 4, in my opinion. So Piba now, though, might be able to change that as it's Ysper versus Piba. Jinx 2, though, going to make things a little harder here as she is going to get that ult into the backline, leaving the Twitch to do its own work. Not a lot of scouting right now, though. That's a pretty beautiful pack, by the way, 4 legendaries. In that pack. It's Jace, Kha'Zix versus the Twitch evaders.
Okay, Jace, Kha'Zix, and the Jinx, actually 3 items as well. That's a lot of carries. Can it work versus the Twitch evaders? Twitch is in the backline, but he's going to be starting to get focused here soon. Jinx jumps in. She's dealing a ton of damage. The Jinx gets CC'd, allows Twitch time, but barely takes a loss. Piba in that round has 1 more round to try to turn it the other direction, Boop.
So the way that worked, right, means that Piba has an opportunity to win out. To be completely honest with you, the Twitch should have gotten taken care of by who else but the Zillion there, get the ult off. And when Zillion did get the ult off, it was a little too late, and we hadn't even got through the initial shielding from the Twitch just yet. So we're going to put the Trap Claw on him as well. We're switching sides, assuming that Ysper was doing the same thing. And it does seem like we are potentially going to be able to get through to the Jinx before we ult. We are already hitting her. She's ulting. We're going to be half health during the ult, but it's going to get almost everyone on that team.
Which, in a theoretically better spot there, but doesn't work out that way. The Orianna ult, though, could be exactly what Piba needs, and it is. Piba, 6 clockwork, Twitch Evader reroll once again, but does make this game a first place. Piba, man, what an exciting player to watch. Even with these reroll compositions that some players can say, yeah, resident sleeper, but Piba makes them exciting. I don't know the last time I've seen a 6 clockwork board to finish out a lobby in first place. Crazy stuff.
6 clockwork. When was the last time you even thought about putting that on your board?
I've never. 6 clockwork.
Like without the augment.
Yeah.
Right? So there wasn't even a clockwork augment to help out there.
I think there was. I think there was.
But Twitch Evaders getting the top 4 and then a lobby win. That's not something that, you see every day, especially right now. Twitch Evaders was a nice top 4 comp, but you usually saw it finish in 3rd or 4th.
Yeah.
But today has been a little bit different. And who else but Piba?
Who else but Piba? Honestly, I don't know. But what we will know are these scores as we get a chance to look at them right now after that lobby. We saw the end of lobby A. Let's see all of lobby B. Unfortunately, it was, good wobble. I think it was that reroll. Trying to go to Twitch Evaders, gets 8th. But on the other side there, Piba running that same comp and getting 1st. So maybe player diff, maybe a bit of just augment RNG diff, whatever you want to call it. But hey, Piba making it work there. But what stands out to you, Boop, as well after these lobbies?
No Warwick again.
That's true.
No Warwick again. So... this is something that happens at Fight Night. I'll never remember. I'll never forget. Warweek the last time when he was a divine unit, and everyone was like, "Oh, Warweek is going to be awful," and like 2 people played it during Fight Night, and then there was Morgana. That was a little bit of an issue one time, and like 1 person played it. So I wonder if that's a little bit of the case of assuming other people are going to play it, and everyone making that same decision to where nobody is playing it.
Not the case for Hextech and Sivers.
Yeah, you also have to have a pretty good start. You almost have to start with the bow for the Warwick, in my opinion. So you need 2 of them, so it's good to get one out of the way, as this is back to our lobby winners. Looks like our top 4 from last week doing a pretty good job. Yippee Malkaye, unfortunately finishing in 6th, but that's still pretty good over the last 2 games, as I think he got a 2nd or 3rd on the last one.
Yeah, now we get to choose, Boop, what lobby you want to see as the last one before the finals. Any preferences you have?
Let's go ahead and look at lobby A again.
All right, get to see Piba in action. Also get to see other players who kind of are on that middle ground on the cusp. Yippee Malkaye and Ysper, I believe, both have 10 points each, so they're going to be some players to watch there. But even like K3U with 8 points could, with a good placement, get into the final lobby. But it's even not really secured for players like Dubious Dawnguard Overrated. They have 14 points, but if they get an 8th, yeah, they're not safe, right? They still need to be in control of their own fate here, need to probably just dodge like a bottom 2, bottom 3 placement, and they'll probably make it through. But again, no guarantee.
Easier said than done. You want to be in control of your own destiny going into this lobby, right? So if you're in a position where if you top 4, you're probably good. That's, in my opinion, the best position to be going into the final lobby, where all points are doubled, so literally anything can happen, right? But this first cut is the hardest part of the day, right? So second hardest part, winning, is probably the hardest part. But as we cull the field after this lobby, I've actually been seeing a lot less than I thought I would be seeing. We're seeing a lot of comps that did well last patch. We've seen Renata attempted, but this could be just a case where things need to be kind of fine-tuned a little bit more. I love that Warwick comp. I believe during like Challenger Series, a lot of people kind of like finalized exactly what that comp looked like, and it did super well. It won, I think on the first day, almost like 4 or 5 lobbies total. And that was before it was even as good as it is now. So again, the potential is still there, though no one is running it.
Only saw it once. I got it second. So it's not like it's bad. Even the evidence that players have seen, it's like, oh yeah, Warwick's there. It's still good. Maybe there's literally just been no good openers to go into Warwick, which is very well possible, right? It could just be those. We've only seen 2 games. Could have been that case. Yeah. What we know we have seen a lot of are Hextex and Sivir, even as many as 4 per lobby. So when it comes to players, I think you mentioned earlier, players all being like, oh, maybe they're going to play Warwick, so I'll steer clear of it because I don't want to contest a reroll board. When it comes to 4-cost carries, yeah, you're not quite as concerned with contesting because it's not a reroll comp that you need to hit tier 3. It's really only 1 Sivir you need, as was the majority of the game for Ninja last time around, right? Ninja didn't hit that Sivir 2 until like a few rounds before.
Yeah, Stage 6-1.
Yeah, and they won on like 6-3 or 6-5 or something. So it's like, that was honestly, I don't even know how that was able to be as strong as it was at Sivir 1 with that board.
It's because they were going up against other Hextechs, right? And what is Shiv good against? Shields, right? So, you kind of go up against, you neutralize the shielding advantage, and then all of a sudden it becomes a positioning and item advantage when it comes to the Hextech versus Hextech lobbies, which they're, again, in that lobby, you had a 50% chance to face up against a Hextech board pretty much on every single round. And what happens here, right, is going to be very interesting too. This is a different lobby, but I wonder if in the Hextech lobby that we just saw, if all of a sudden everyone drops it. Right? And everyone picks up Warwick or something after that, because that is something that happens very frequently here when there's a heavily contested comp. It's almost like this group think of, oh, it was contested, I'm going to stop playing it, and then everyone makes that same decision. It happens a lot more frequently than I think a lot of people think.
Yeah, we do actually have a little bit of context in Lobby A that we did see the end of the top 2 situation. There was a Warwick played in that game, but it did go out in 4th. So a little bit more willingness to play Warwick for some of these players. Definitely still not as much as we expected to see. But now we get on into Lobby A again. Game number 3, Boop. This is the final game before the final 8 lobby gets decided. Biba, our resident Twitch reroll player, starts the game off with a glove.
I was just gonna mention, anytime we say his name, we always put a little splash to it. Have you noticed that?
I know. I just love saying Biba's
name.
I
know.
Actually.
It's a great name, right? 2 syllables,
Biba.
Right? Anyway, Biba. Oh, so good. Anyway, also, I think I have that beanie. I think I wear it here pretty frequently. Anyway, we have a crit glove start with a belt. I actually like when the game kind of forces me to build my front line first, because I just won't do it if that's not the case. I just start picking up only offensive items because that's how my brain works, and I like flash, not necessarily good.
Not good.
But we'll see what happens here, as we're already starting with this innovator comp.
Yep. Already going to be having the Camille and the Ezreal, 2 very important parts. I think Piba's just forcing this. Has 2 gloves. Can't slam any items right now, but hey, gloves are still important. Disintegrator, funny frontline, or
ooh, that is a great augment for Twitch.
Yeah, Twitch works really, really well with this.
Yep, it is a budget giant slayer. Right? Disintegrator. And there actually hasn't been, if you really think about it, that the Hextech comps that we've been seeing and the comps that we've been seeing in the late game, there actually isn't a ton of frontline. Alistar has been the beefiest unit that we've seen so far today, and barely any mutants as well. We haven't seen a single Cho'Gath comp. We saw a 7 mutant comp, but that's different.
Yeah, right? It had a Cho'Gath in there, but was by no means the focal point, right?
Exactly. But we've seen some Alistars pop off with triple items. But in terms of frontline, I actually don't think you necessarily are looking at the beefiest front lines in the world. So Disintegrator is going to be really good against that, because you don't need the kind of line that Giant Slayer needs. You have to have over 1400 HP for Giant Slayer, right? As we do have
Warwick.
You got to think about it.
At least think about it, if not be like, oh, Warwick, commit to it, right?
There we go.
Challengers being played. Will Piba steer away from the Twitch evaders and actually go Warwick? I think the potential is very much there. The items are not amazing. We'll have to admit, there is 1 glove that will go into a Quicksilver, but we want a Titan's Rage Blade to pair with it.
QSS is the most important, in my opinion. Titans is probably really awesome in the early game too, but QSS is just so nice, especially with that attack speed. And speaking of Disintegrator, Warwick, so good with it. And I wonder if we're going to get any other challenger augments as we get along through the rest of this. So we're probably going to pick first on the carousel. A lot of Warwick players like doing that so they can get their bows, but we probably get a cloak on the first carousel here, unless we're going to greed super hard and just roll into the Warwick potentially, as we're actually going to bail, which I do like this idea. It didn't really seem like we wanted to play Warwick. It's like eating your vegetables sometimes, playing some other comps. As we move over to Yippee Maokai, who is a very good mercenary player, so I'm excited to see this.
Yeah, nice to see that we have another Merc player in the lobby. Again, always makes it very exciting. Maybe not exciting to watch in the early game, because we know they're just going to lose, and then lose, and then lose. But hey, when they cash out, really when it pops off, and kind of how much econ you can accrue, what items that you make, what pivot points that you really establish when you get out of the mercenaries. Those are going to be the big things, but we don't really see any of that coming through right now, of course. It is a bit too early for any of that.
Yep. 11 minutes ago, by the way, Mort said that there is going to be a B patch, and I wonder if it's Hextech related. Curious.
Ooh, it very well might be. I think that's a very safe bet.
Yeah, those Sivers were really good in that last lobby, even the Sivir 1, right? And that's kind of like the power differential. If they were all Sivir 2s doing that, that'd be fine, in my opinion. But since the Sivir 1 actually performed the best, there's something to look at there in terms of where we're going to go with that. But looking through the rest of this, I'm super curious to see what those changes are going to be. It's got to be Hextech related, potentially Warwick related as well. Yippee Maokai played a beautiful Merc game last week, from what I remember. Played Mercs in some of the professional kind of tier A, tier 1 events that Riot was putting on for TFT that Yippee Maokai participated in, like the Challenger Series. So I know he can run a very, very, very good Merc comp. So let's see if it's going to pay off here.
Getting this MF is very interesting. I think the potential, maybe there's some crazy situation, or we get to Krugs, drops a tome, and then we run 5 Mercs for a little bit, right? That could be exciting. No augment coming through to enhance these Mercs, unfortunately, but hey, that's a-okay. Picking first, I believe. Yeah, Peebo drops to 82. But even that's not that bad, considering Peebo is basically, not like open forwarding, but making econ as much as possible. There's a spatula here, but people don't really grab it that often, or at least not in the first few picks.
Unless you really, really want it. I would probably leave the spatula on the board. So the thing about TFT is you want as much knowledge as possible, right? It's one of those games that you're never going to have all of the knowledge for. So if you're able to glean more knowledge from other boards than other people, you're going to be functioning off a lot more kind of facts to work with. And so as you kind of take that concept into K3U's board here, we have a second innovator comp. So we know that Peebo is running the Twitch evaders right now, switch out of the Warwick to get there, but K3U, who absolutely needs this first place, is going to be committing to these innovators for now.
Yeah, first place, maybe a second could do it. Might have to come down to like tiebreakers at that point, and by no means would it be guaranteed. So definitely, Boop, I'm right there with you. Has to play for a first, play for that win condition. And has a pretty aggressive early game, is going to be able to maintain this win streak, at least for now. The next round is going to be very, very important, however. But I like the willingness to slam items like a Warmugs in this Darius. Warmugs is a solid item, and it's going to be really, really good at buying time for this Ezreal. Even though the Ezreal was nerfed a little bit, still dealing a lot of great damage in this early game. Oh, Zillion too, okay.
All right, Zillion 2. One of like the most underrated utility champs in the game. Probably one of the best 1v1 champs too in the game. You never see it, but that CC lasts forever when you have that bomb on. And if you're like a 2v1 situation and one of them Zillion, you're probably going to lose that particular matchup. So you're going to see the power level of, as if you want to be super fancy, Zillion.
Zillion.
Right
Zillion.
now, Zillion as Piba is going to still run this Twitch Invader, but in terms of pace, substantially slower than previous games so far. That's just a Twitch 1.
Is a Twitch 1. Piba losing a lot of rounds, losing yet another one here. K3U goes 100 streak. Piba out KA though. Even lower than Piba there. Piba's only 74. I think, did Piba win a round? Or maybe the losses are just super good, actually. 74 with 5 losses. Yeah, very, very good spot to be in. K3U. Couple Swains in the shop, Morgana, but no. Nothing really super tempting here. K3U holding a Twitch is a little cheeky.
Oh no. I wonder where that's from. I wonder why you call it cheeky.
I don't know. I think it's like a British thing.
Yeah, it sounds British.
I think it is. I don't know. Maybe I've been hanging out with Leg Day too much recently.
Oh, I love Leg Day. He randomly appears in our cast sometimes because he's just such a wonderful person. Ooh, got some gold here. We also get another mercenary. We also have some twin shots available. Another Hex Tech board here. We're going to be seeing Hex Techs all day.
Oh, yeah.
So let's really dive deep into like the differentials in these Hex Tech comps. So I think in this set, one of the main points of it was to be able to build different versions of the same comp, right? So if you're unable to get to the Sivir, right, even the Sivir 1 seems to be enough for what you need. Is there an alternative carry in this comp that potentially could get you into the top 4? If there is, it's going to be Lucian. And I really, really want to see a twin shot board and just see how it does, especially since you can run the twin shot with these Hex Techs as well.
Twin shot Arcanist reroll is a real comp, and I don't think we've seen it at all. It's not really the most, I guess I would say, like, intuitive comp to go for, but if someone gets offered like Triforce as an augment, yeah, definitely the potential there is very, very good. Maybe it's stronger. Morgana too. Is it strong enough? I don't know. This Lucian, these Hex Techs, 4 Hex Tech Lucian 1, good enough carry. This Swain is a fantastic frontline with this Redemption Slam. Oh man, so strong. Unfortunately, Overrated wasn't able to carry that streak through all the way at stage 2. And I think we actually do. Oh wow, getting that Lucian 2, and with it the upgrade puts the Quicksilver there. This is so good. Overrated, I think, is almost locked in a top 4. I'd say it's pretty safe with that upgrade.
I totally agree. And so we get the Debonair, the brand there as well. We have the Jeweled Gauntlet on it. This is one of the first pure AP comps we've seen since the Ari in the first round that I believe Dubious Donger might have been running.
Yeah, so, it was. So Dubious Donger loves AP.
Yeah, we are definitely going to be moving in that direction. This patch was 100% to try to make AP a little bit more valuable, as I believe Ramblin, I think one of the only top players favoring like the tier start and the AP start. So trying to make that a little bit more open to interpretation. We already have an early Seraphine though at 3-2. Not quite enough. Seraphine very good at almost killing units. And unfortunately, this is going to be a 5-unit loss for T3U.
4 units almost killed, but hey, almost isn't good enough on the convergence. Hey, speaking of Triforce. Triforce? Oh, that could have been... Oh, we see a cash out. Okay, can't miss that one. Mount Kaye. 6 loss. It's offered Rich Get Richer, Phalanx, and Battle Mage. It's probably Phalanx from this position.
You could, with twin shots, do Battle Mage. So, if you want to, Phalanx is a lot more generalized. Probably not going to pick Rich Get Richer. Econ augments, picking second and third can feel a little bad.
Yep, 100%. I think Rich Get Richer does give more gold now, though. I think it was buffed, actually, a little bit. Up from 12 to 14, I want to say. But yeah, it's going to be Phalanx. Took a little bit of time to get to that decision. And this board does not look strong, so I don't think actually EPL wanted to cash out this early. That might be a really bad thing. In fact, it is a really bad thing.
Yeah, so we're actually keeping Mercs in. We've actually seen Yippee do this twice and win the lobby the last time we saw him do this.
Oh, right,
so
yeah.
I'm not quite convinced it's over because, again, the last time we saw Yippee cash out, it was a 2-time cash out, and there were, I believe, no items attached to the cash out. It was all gold.
Esports weak, though, too.
Yeah, and so we actually are going to...
We're
playing winning mercs, folks. We're playing winning mercs. It hasn't been here since it was called Fortune. As winning mercs is going to get us a couple more gold. We're already over 50, so literally it's just a free roll or another unit at this point in time. As we do have a spatula on the board, doesn't seem like anyone really needing it right now.
Yeah, that spatula. Oh, actually gets picked first.
Esports gets picked up.
The spatula went. I think it didn't get taken in stage 2 carousel. In fact, it went last. I think it was on an Ash, and no one wanted it. Now Ysper, maybe it's for the Alistair. I don't know what Ysper's board state is. We'll have to check that out a little bit later. Very, very interesting.
Okay, we got the double Zeeks in the front line right now. That is most assuredly going to be helping out a Sivir. That might have been the difference on the last round, is the Sivir's base attack speed just being higher with the 2 Zeeks. That could have been a big change. We still are having a ton of Hextechs, but this is a little bit more innovator focused. We see at least 2 Hextech comps, and they're both in first and second place right now.
Yeah, I think there is another one out there.
Another one. DJ Khaled here?
Another one.
I was there for that performance, by the way.
Were you really? Oh, man.
Yeah. It was one of the craziest experiences of my life. I don't think
that's wild.
It was. I'm excited to be here at this event. I'll never forget that.
Oh man, I shouldn't say, but it's a wild one.
I think you've insinuated it at least. Like, he came on bragging about writing a song with Beyonce and then forgot where he was. But that's my story. As the Lucian with the extra item, I believe, for Binary, gonna help with the win there. Yeah. One Hextech survives, the other does lose out, but that was a very, very close loss, so not losing a ton.
Echo upgrade potentially here for Quoxty. Quoxty with 5 points. I'm not sure even a first place is going to be enough to advance. It's very unlikely that it will be. But still, playing for a bit of pride. Playing for just a good game 3. Playing spoiler as well, right? Even though it's not, the 4th game.
Oh, man. I wonder if we, brought a curse into Resistance with the 4th game curse. It's almost been more consistent on the new version of Fight Night than it was in the old version, right? With just 4 lobbies. As this is a brutal loss coming in from Lyric Fam. Man, these Hextechs doing work, and the main carry's not even here, and that's a 5-unit win, right? Without Nocturne the main carry with 3 utility items on the Nocturne, right? So QSs can be, counted as, I think, a carry item, but 2 Zeeks, right? With no real carry attached to it for Hextechs, either the lobby is playing slowly right now, which could be the case as our Merc player won 2 rounds in a row, right? But this is very non-traditional because look at that split between 4th and 5th right now. 22 HP. That's 2 or 3 rounds of extra losses between the 2 of them from this point and before.
Ysper. So Ysper did a couple really cool things here. One is use that Alistair with a spat to combine a tier with it, make a Hextech emblem, pop it off of the Alistair, and play it. And now actually with this roll down has hit a Alistair 2. But Ysper is forcing Hextech so hard. There is literally 0 Sivir items on the board right now with the items that just came through. Yeah, we can make a Quicksilver, but really far away from anything else. Hits the Sivir 2 though with the roll down. That might be enough. And so, it's going to be like, okay, Hodge good enough as well. I really like that. Yeah, go ahead.
This is what happens when you hit a unit, you just shrug, right? You're like, oh, I got to invest now, right? I have to. I'm in last place. I'm at 4-1. I roll down all my gold, and traditionally, this is exactly what I'm supposed to do at this moment in time. I don't have best in slot items. At least I have the QSS. The Hodge is going to be just fine, especially since Sivir has 100% been overachieving all day today. In my opinion. So a bunch of different itemizations have worked, and that's another kind of look into a potential unit that might need to be adjusted is when a ton of itemizations work out and it's not a transition character like Gnar, right?
Yep.
So we're going to be putting all of this onto the Sivir, which has been very beneficial for most people in the lobby. As we move over to another Sivir comp this time, we're also going to get the Sivir 2. I think honestly, one of the craziest things that happened last lobby was the fact that 3 people got Sivir 2 at the same time. And now we have our Nikos to help with whatever unit we need. It's probably the least valuable in this comp because of the lack of 5 costs that we need, but we do get the Vi front line, which is very, very nice. Another Hextech comp.
This is a 4 Hextech lobby. Overrated, wanting to play Hextech as well, I think. There is an Ahri too, however, over there though, so I don't really know what direction that's going to go. It was good enough to win streaks for most of the early to mid game. Now it's starting to fall off as, yeah, players rolling 2-0 on level 7 and hitting Sivir 2. Pretty risky. You might need to do it though, because if you don't, yeah, all the rest of Sivers are going to be gone. But hitting is just, you can breathe a sigh of relief, right? You can econ back up. That Sivir is going to allow you to win a lot of rounds. And yeah, going to be in a good spot moving forward.
This was a unit, and if you're kind of surprised by how much you're seeing it, Sivir had the lowest win rate of all the 4-cost carries in the last patch. So it does really feel like it's been a swarm of Sivers. Oh, that sounds nice.
Swarm of Sivers. That's the that's the word.
Yeah, and so let's think about what might be able to counter it. As of right now, I think the 6 Hex Tech is a little too protective for the Sivir, because remember in previous patches we needed first aid Zeke's trap for the Sivir. It was more like Kale in previous iterations.
Yeah.
But now can really function doing whatever at the current time is really what it feels like, as Lyric Fan is going to get shrouded through the middle, so the Orianna not going to be able to provide that support. That would have been a beefy Orianna ult, but sometimes all you need is Sivir.
Sometimes all you need is Sivir. Yeah, it's really the story of today. Is that true, however? Ooh, the Orianna ult actually goes off and probably saves the Sivir. Gangplank retargeted, got CC'd. It is still going to be Yippee running Mercs. 15 HP. Didn't cash out there. I'm not sure how many losses that is. We do move into the stage 4 carousel. You can see legendary units. They are going to be Victor and Jinx.
Look how low the HP totals are, man. We're not even on our 3rd augment, and 5 people are under 50 HP.
Yep. Accelerating the pace of lobbies. That's what happens when players are rolling down to 0 at level 7 and chunking players for like 20 damage a turn. Not quite 20, right? But like, you know,
again,
12,
all you need is 1
Sivir.
Right? You don't even need the tier 2.
That's true.
To
but 2 players have the tier
right?
2.
I know, right? And last time we had 4 players ending up with tier 2 Sivers. So again, it's going to be up to us watching, and those of us who are playing to try to figure out exactly how to counter it in the meantime. Might be a good, too bad we don't have something like Volibear, who was able to get rid of shields at the time. So, and we're not healing, which is the other thing about Hex Tech that people don't think about. So things like Morello's might help a little bit, but it's really the shielding that is going to bring this comp again across the finish line in 1st or 2nd place. We've seen it top 4, at least 50% of the lobbies so far have at least had 50% of the top 4 be a Sivir comp.
Yeah. Oh, Dubious Donger, I think, wants to play Ahri, but didn't hit the Ahri yet. Has to play a blue buff Victor, which feels pretty bad. Victor shines with the Shojins. These casts are still going to be doing a lot of damage, though. Look at these Arcanists. This damage comes through. Kills the Ahri, but Lucian does survive. Not going to be able to do enough, however. Vex, very, very tanky. Get to see the AP, yeah, it's still good. AP is solid. You can't count it out. Even though we see games where, yeah, there's 2 Dravens and 4 Sivers and a Twitch. Can't count out that AP. Speaking of Twitch, Piba down there at 11 HP. Playing Twitch comp, I believe. Has he
That's
hit
TFT.
Yet?
Wins the last lobby with the same comp, right? Sometimes it just be like that. We have the Twitch 3 at this point too, so we got to try to get it. ZP Maokai still hasn't picked the augment and was still playing
Cash
Worms.
out. Yep. I think it was a 3.
3rd.
Yeah. 3 lost cash out, I think, there. It's going to be about 10, maybe a little bit more gold.
Yeah.
Not great, but not the worst.
It's our third cash out total, I believe. So, you know, we probably got about 20 extra, about 15 extra gold, plus some items a little earlier on. The Thief's Gloves was a part of that. We have good units in the pack, but units that we can't necessarily use right now.
This is such a weird spot.
Yeah, we're in a very, very weird spot, and we're all in like that single line, and we've stolen a Sivir for just a striker bonus right now. So it's going to be the Aurelia versus the Sivir here. Aurelia could do work here. We're actually going to itemize the Sivir as well. We're going to have the Hex Tech as well.
Aurelia doesn't have any scraps. So I thought that was like, okay, the bow's going to turn to something. It's going to be good. It could be like Last Whisper, but no. Nothing. No scraps right now being ran, besides that Aurelia. It's going to be okay, though, because, yeah, it turns out Aurelia 2 is still pretty good. Voice Striker gave me a lot of AD. She's in the Socialite Hex as well. Gonna win this round. Yippee Malkaye's not out of the woods yet. Yeah, Vex is pretty good.
Yeah, just a little bit of dodge. Look how good she was. I'm gonna keep saying it. I really think dodge is gonna be a big
dodge
deal.
Stand.
Like, okay, if we're going up against Sivers, dodge is probably a really good option, right? Yeah. So we're gonna get hit by all the pings off of the ultimate, but you know, in terms of the base attack damage, we're gonna be a little bit better off. But it's just, again, when you have the crit gloves, why would you put it with your belt, right? When you can build your carry with it. But I think that's the difference, right? That's the choice you have to make. It's a defensive item in that situation. Ooh. You're trying to win by attrition versus power, so you don't necessarily need the offensive power with the dodges. You're just trying to outlast at that point. Hextech Emblem.
Yeah, it's not really a Sivir-focused comp here, though, unfortunately. Running the Socialite is going to actually make it easier to get to 3 Socialite. You don't really need 3, guys, because there's a Bloodthirster there, so you don't really need the healing. There you go, Yeasper. Oh, did get a Shiv for final item on the on the Sivir. Not bad.
No, we're 2/3 of the way to a best in slot Sivir. The Hodge is kind of a feels bad, but we absolutely needed to do it at the time, right?
100%.
For where we were at the time, the reason why we have 12 HP is because of this Hodge. So the Sivir wins out again, overrated NA. Is going to lose out with that AP comp. Lyric at 6, Piba at 11. Seeing the Twitch win is gotta be scary for the rest of the lobby, to be honest with you. K3U, though, absolute domination at the top, as 40 HP separates first and second place.
Yeah, that's a pretty hefty HP gap there. Not often will you see one, unless the player is like completely dominating the lobby, which doesn't happen very often, but hey, here's one of those situations. Hiba stabilized 11 HP, but Lyric fan down at 6. Yippee Malkaye, who I think Yippee Malkaye from that spot's probably going bot 4. The cash outs just weren't good enough. We'll see. It's gonna be the Sivir versus the Arcanist of Dubious Donger. Loves AP. Victor cast. Let's take out the Sivir, actually. Ooh, it goes out. Vex surviving.
Yeah. Ooh, in the Redemption doing some good work. But Vex, once again, along with the Swain. Oh, we have Archangel's Embrace and the auto attack augment as well. So it wasn't necessarily only the Vex, but the Vex with the ult and then the auto attack with the increased AP. That's why the shields were so big there to go along with the Vex. As we have 3 HP, lots of Hextech boards. We got a sniper board as well, and a comment. Everyone make a wish.
Hey.
Oh, a second comment.
Make another? Does that work that way? You just keep farming
lightning
wishes?
Doesn't strike twice unless
it does.
Convergence, I guess.
Yeah. Here's the Aurelia. Triple item now with giantslayer, the third one.
That's a great item for Aurelia. Should be able to do really good work against these frontliners, but first we have to get through the shielding that is working so well for the 6 Hextech board. And look at how much space Sivir has right now. It's going to be Sivir against Aurelia. Redemption helping. Oh, huge ult from the Alistar, who gets second frag. There's Piba, gets eliminated.
Alistar got 3 ults there, and every single ult was massive. It's really the MVP of that fight, allowing the space for Sivir to really do whatever she wanted. Esper getting Enforcer. That's going to be 3 Enforcers. So, okay.
And
Love
that's
that.
mad valuable because we haven't seen really any other Enforcer comps unless they've had this particular emblem, right? So we have the Enforcer. It's going to compensate for the lack of the 3rd unit, right? So it almost feels like if we want 3 Enforcer, this is the way to do it. And that means that a lot of other people aren't going to have a 3 Enforcer. So, you know, it's going to be a lot more of a delay on who is going to get locked up, something that no one's really had to deal with up until this point.
We've seen one other 3 Enforcer board, and I believe that was only happened because the player went to level 9 and put in a Jace, right? That's not always going to happen that way. It's really, really hard to. So if you're on level 8, yeah, this is probably the way to do it. He's going to go up against, ooh, okay, a sniper board, actually. 4 snipers there. Quaxi.
So 4 snipers is like asking for 4 Aries to do exactly the same thing at the same time. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It was almost a bad news bears there as Ysper falls. -6. Is Yippee Maokai also going to fall? But by how much? Ooh, that's 1 unit in the early game. 2 HP difference between 5th and 6th. At least we didn't lose those 2 points from 4th, as Dubious Donger does get into the top 4 with the AP comp. Gotta love to see it.
Bloodthirster on the Morgana, Boop. We get to see it.
Yeah! That's got to be the second time he's gotten the Bloodthirster on a dragon or a PvE round or something like that.
Just leftover components, maybe. I don't know. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say, this IE on the Victor is actually going to be a lot of damage because of the Spellblade. So let's see what happens after that first ult. Ooh!
True.
Ooh, Draven. Good spot for this.
Frozen Heart, making it really hard for this Victor to get the first cast off. Does it, and deletes the whole board. Look at that. Dubious Donger is laughing along. Knows that, oh yeah, that was disgusting. And it very, very much was.
Yeah, that's why you play TFT. Is what we just witnessed. It's one of the most satisfying moments in the game is a Victor wipe. And the other thing about it is we also get 25% more AP when that ult goes off because of the Embrace augment there. So we also have Redemption to help us against other potential AP units that aren't really here right now. But we're going to get a Zephyr as well. So we're going to get even stronger. Zephyr's such a great item to drop at this point of the game. And we have a Reforger too, so we can Reforge the BT for sure.
Love that. Here we go. And did you call?
That's better.
That's definitely better.
Yeah.
We take those. A tier as well. Hey, we take those. Tier better than belt by a little bit. Moving over to K3U. K3U is the Draven that we just saw be eliminated. Or not eliminated, but lose the last round. Rocking 5 innovators with this Draven. I don't see that one every day.
You know, it's called Flexivators because you can run a couple different carries. You can run everything up from Draven to Kha'Zix, but this is going to be a Triforce Draven. No attack speed, though.
No. A couple of bows, I guess. Attack speed through the Infinity Force, the bow and the Titans, and the bow and the Last Whisper. Is it enough, though? It's only a Sivir 1, yeah, just like you said. And Sivir 1 apparently is enough to get the job done, Boop.
I'm going to take a deep breath. Sivir. I love Sivir. Like, I love Sivir, one of my favorite units. I think a good Sivir on the Rift is one of, like, the most impressive carries, in my opinion. How you're able to control lanes and stuff like that. This is a lot of damage for
not okay.
Sivir.
It's not okay. More,
like, that was a Debonair Draven with a Innovator 5 comp, right? And yes, a lot of the surrounding aspects of the Sivir were definitely helping, especially with 6 Striker. So we don't need any of those attack damage items at all, right? We have it with the 6 Striker. It's a ton of extra AD, and we have a binary airdrop to help the rest of our team comp as well. So, you know, it might be a Sivir 1. The rest of the team comp, though, is pretty powerful. And maybe snipers are the way. You know, there's not many ways to get to the Sivir. Snipers might be it, but then you have the secondary carry in this comp, which is Irelia.
Dubious Donger did go out in 4th, so that Victor, as exciting as it was, a bit inconsistent. And hey, Overrated made it here on a 6-win streak with only a Sivir 1. Imagine where you can get to if you get a Sivir 2. Oh wait, we already saw that a couple of games ago, right? We already saw what happens when you get the Sivir 2. It means you win the lobby. That's probably going to happen here, I would say. Oh,
I would agree. We have the Zeeks too to help out both of our strikers. I think it's over 100 attack damage for 6 striker. By the way, beautiful roll for the Thornmail on the Alistar. But you're seeing the frontliners really just aren't that strong right now in terms of power level. And again, just not enough damage fast enough for the sniper comp. Cool comp. Yep. We got to 3rd place, but it's going to be Draven versus Sivir. Again.
Again, over the next couple of rounds, see which one will be able to close it out. And yeah, you're right. 120 AD with 6 striker. That's quite a lot of AD.
Yeah. So things like the Titans actually work really well in conjunction with that. So you don't need an actual item to get that amount, but you're going to get the extra 25 each on the Titans along with some more Moxie to deal with the defensive stats. Super weird roll.
Sunfire IE. Okay.
That's apparently an option. I don't think I've ever seen that on a roll with my Thieves Clubs. But you know what? This Draven gonna have some like 2 auto attacks that are gonna crit. So watch out.
Assassin singed. Jumps to the back line. Can't fling the Sivir though, because that item calls Quicksilver.
Yeah, and again, that's why I'm like, is it the item or is it the unit? Right? QSS seems to be the common core between all of these carries.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Ooh, that was close. If Draven actually got like that auto attack to register, or maybe like one other auto attack, could have actually gone his way. We'll see. This could be the final round of the game. Could also go to stage 7 though. It's not guaranteed over yet. 8 win streak, however, for overrated. The burden's definitely on K3U for positioning, right? The Orianna ulti. If he can somehow get Orianna to ult as soon as the Sivir Quicksilver drops, that's definitely a win condition.
Yeah, but it's half of a round before the Quicksilver drop, so it would probably be the 2nd ultimate, and Orianna's 2nd ultimate can be pretty slow to get to. Sivir pretty safe right now. Trapclaw not going to keep the Gnar on the ground, but that's okay. He's actually going to be put in a better position because of it. This is a little bit better for the Draven. The Sivir has to walk up even with the RFC, and that's another win for the Sivir. We are going to get stage 5. This has to be like an amazing item for K3U at this point, and he's already pretty much topped out on that comp.
Morello's for overrated. Is it more value to put the Morellos on the Alistar and make sure he gets the value, or to put it on Sejuani so we get more binary, right? I think it's here.
Is a 3rd item going to be a difference maker for Sejuani? I don't think so. But we do have a Nikos that popped out.
Don't even need it.
We do not need it because, again, this is the comp that needs Nikos the least. We're just going to go ahead and use it for 5 gold.
Oh, right? No, it's not for fun. It's actually to deny it from K3U. All right. Might as well. Yeah, hit the Zeri too. Be it's that legitimate person. Strategy. 100%. 100% it is.
I have ever since the moment in Europe where that was the big debate. The moment in Europe, legitimate strategy. I will die on that hill.
Oh, yeah.
Assassin Debonair Kaisa though. That's pretty exciting. On the opposite side of the Sivir does miss on the Shroud on the other side. 1 kill already on the Sivir. The Sivir's already ulting. We have the Boomerang Blades going through. Huge ult on the Alistar. And once again, this is going to be on the Sivir. Probably gonna we're gonna do it by 3 units this time, or 2.5 with the ZZ Rot. Yep. Sivir takes another lobby today.
Sivir takes another win, and yeah, get the Sivir 2 online finally, and you can close it out in dominant fashion there. Sivir definitely the name of the game, name of the meta today. But these Draven boards, I actually didn't expect Draven to kind of be that secondary, second strong comp. But Draven really, I think, is impressing so far.
Oh, 100%. I love it. It reminds me of kind of like the old Aphelios meta where it's
Yeah.
true auto attack based ranged characters that are kind of the carries right now. Draven, pretty good against Irelia already, and Irelia is nerfed. So that's another reason why I think we're seeing some more power push into the other striker, which is the Sivir, who is, I think, the striker who got nerfed the least. I think Sivir only got a attack damage nerf, right?
I believe so, actually. I
And
have to
if
double check, but I believe
everyone
so.
gets the same attack damage nerf, right? Everyone kind of like evens out going down, where
Yeah,
Sivir gets to avoid some of that, nerfing bat, if you will.
definitely. Well, scores are ready, Boop, so we get a chance to see what happened in the last game, and then in a few moments, see who's going to make it into the finals. Overrated, took lobby A, but Harukawa Maki stepping it up, taking that first in lobby B. Mercurial, though, very surprising. Did bottom 4 that one.
No, Harukawa's been playing some good TFT the last couple of fight nights. Definitely a player that I'm always going to be like looking through the roster of an open, tournament or something, for example. But really curious to see where Harukawa lands in the overall standings, Khroen.
Yeah, let's go and see it. They are ready, Boops. We get a chance to see who's making it forward into the finals. Harukawa Maki in first place. Overrated. FX Ninja, Dubious Donger, Mercurial, Stepsis, Piba, and K3U wins the tiebreaker over Pro Viber. It looks like both 16 points. K3U making it forward.
Mm-hmm. So K3U placed better in the final game, putting them in that 8th place spot. We only lose one of our top 4. It is Yippee Maokaye. Yippee Maokaye has been playing like a ton of TFT, so maybe we get to take a break now after all of the super competitive events that Yippee Maokaye has been in.
That's true.
But unfortunately, I love the player. One of my favorite Merc players that I've been able to see over the last month. So definitely going to be missing Yippee Maokaye. But basically, if you didn't come in with a Sivir, it was going to be hard for you.
Yeah, unless you got like an insane Merc cash out, which was Yippee Maokaye's game plan. Just unfortunately won a little bit too soon, and yeah, it feels weird when you're like, oh yeah, you won, and that's the problem. But
yeah,
it was, you won too early. That's not how Mercs will function, unfortunately. But we still retain 3 out of 4 of last week's top 4, make it to the finals. Looking to do it again. Harukawa Maki is currently in first place, and they are the defending champion, Boop. But these final lobbies, with the points being doubled, it's going to get real crazy. But before that, we're going to take a quick break. But don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back with the final lobby of Fight Night Rising. Welcome back to Fight Night Rising. Still Khroen and Boop here, bringing you the action as we move forward into the final lobby. That's right, we have eliminated 8 players. That means we get the best 8 moving forward over the next 2 games. Boop, the point doubles, or the point scores are doubled, rather. And it always makes for some crazy situations. We don't even have a situation where there's someone like, super out in front of ahead. I guess there is a 10-point gap between Harukawa Maki and K3U being first through 8th, but that point gap can get closed very, very quickly here.
First through 8th. It really is anybody's game. This 4th lobby, in my opinion, is going to make or break half of the players here, right? It's going to set up someone for the win. It's going to eliminate some people, but because of the points being doubled and because it's only a 10-point spread, Harukawa could actually get in last place at the end of this round if we get an 8th place, because that is only 2 points. So the 8th place is even more punishing and the win is even more rewarding in this sense. And the other thing about the 4th lobby, this is where consistency and fatigue will start to come into play and start questioning whether we can actually be a top 4 player through 5 lobbies. The 4th lobby is kind of the stress test of the group.
Yeah, definitely. And you got to, take into account a new lobby dynamic as well. Maybe there's somehow even more players that want to run Hextech Sivir in this board, or because the players who've ran it have done so well, they've probably advanced over to the same lobbies.
That's a really good point. I actually think we've seen 6 out of 8 of these players play Hextech. So what is next?
There's not enough Sivers for everybody. Someone's going to have to give up the Sivir dream and maybe go into some of these comps we haven't seen yet. And actually, Boop, I want to pose this question to you. What is a comp that maybe we haven't seen or only seen like one instance of that you would like to see more coming to this final lobby?
I want to see more AP. I want to see, again, I'm going to be on, I want to see more dodge train until someone is crazy enough to actually try it for me. But I think it's Vex. I think Vex might actually be a little bit of a game changer. We saw how good Vex was without with one dodge item against some of these comps. Got top 4, right, with Dubious. And so I do think that there's some opportunities to make the front line a little bit better against the Sivir, especially since some people have dropped the Shiv in favor of the RFC when it comes to the Sivir in general. So that could be it. You make someone in the front line a little bit better at dodging, or I saw some potential with those snipers. If Zeri didn't make a quick left turn there, at one point the Sivir would have been easy to take care of, but the problem is that even though we have a lot of Sivir players, they all can still play her because you only need one.
Yeah, apparently, somehow you only need one, and it's good enough. Yeah, you get your Alistair frontline online, you get your 6 Hextech. Even if you get a good high roll opener, right? You get a Hextech Heart, and you can think about going 8 Hextechs pretty easily. I think for me though, it actually is Renata. I really think that Renata is back. We haven't really seen that being proved yet. The one instance of Renata we saw did go out in bottom 4, but I kind of want to see it more. I think it could be solid. Maybe not quite as a counter to Sivir per se, but still maybe just being able to hold its own, especially if you get a good opener for it. Get a good bruiser frontline, get the good Renata items. I think that's a big thing. Maybe even just like an early Tom Kench to farm items and get you to that really capped end game board state, because that's when you can splash in some of these other units, right? Like you talk about the AP tree that you want to see more, Boop. Victor, a unit that we can see does a lot of work in a really good situation. It won lobby number 1 of today. It got into the top 4 of the last game, I believe, as well. So yeah, if you start to farm items to Tom Kench, you can get that really capped late game Renata board online. I want to see more of that work out.
Unfortunately, well, I would love to agree with you. I'm going to challenge you on this, my friend. I think Renata is awful against shielding. So because that shield appears every so often, right, her damage is almost halved. When you have like the Hextech 6, right? So you're going to need that to stack, and then you're going to need that. I think there's too much that you need to do in order to make that happen, but that might be what you need. right now. So Renata could help enable some other people as she eats through the shielding aspect of the Hex Tech buff. And so finally the other carries can actually hit the HP, which has been a very hard thing. Sivir has been incredibly safe throughout a lot of these rounds too because of Alistar, who is a little bit of an underrated presence when it comes to these Hextech comps.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the past, because he takes 2 spots, people dropped him because you can get 6 Hextech anyway, but you're replacing, it looks like, the Swain at level 7 to put the Alistar in there, and that's been working really well in terms of protection. It's almost a guaranteed, multi-person ult, other than the one we saw earlier where it whiffed everybody, which I had never seen before. So that's the rarity part of it. But the other thing that's going to be available now is Innovators. So that seems to be doing really well in the early game. We saw Twitch Invaders win, so we know that it can beat the Sivir with good positioning. But right now, the idea has to be how I counter the shielding. Shielding very strong right now. Even these scrap comps in the early game have been pretty successful before they pivot. Yeah,
that's true. And going back to the Renata thing, definitely, recognize, of course, in my statement, the Renata is not necessarily going to be a counter to Sivir by any means, but just holding its own, right? Only going to it because there's so many players going to go Sivir. Not everyone can do that. If you get a good Renata composition and you allow the enableization of other carries, say like the Victor, then it could do solid. But yeah, by no means is Renata just going to be able to like dominate a Sivir lobby. No, not going to happen that way.
Well, it reminds me, there's always been this kind of thing in TFT, right? For a little while in a previous set, it was Vel'Koz 3 versus Jax 3, right? And, the Vel'Koz player was usually the only AP player in that lobby. So a very kind of similar situation, I think, with the Renata, where if you are able to tier 3 that Renata and get those 4 stacks on and get some good mana generation going as well, the shielding is just not going to be available, right? No matter how big it is. So definitely can happen. And Tom Kench might not be able to eat Alistar, but taking away a single frontliner, especially since Alistar has 2 spots getting taken up from him, that's going to be a big deal too. It's all about access to the back line, which no one really seems to be running any assassins. So Sivir's been super safe in the back line.
Yeah, true. No Talons. I think there's still a potential for a Talon to be really good, but haven't seen it yet. No assassins, as you mentioned, besides the Twitch Invaders, I suppose. Being really the only one. Arakawa Maki started this game off with a tier. Is going to play Innovators. Is going to play that Camille as well for Clockwork. And actually slam a Shojins. Interesting stuff.
Okay. Wow, this is man, to get the crab in 2-1 is beautiful. Whoa, that is illusion.
That is illusion.
2-1 with the Zeeks. The raw damage here is actually not a lot from Lucian. Crit's really good on Lucian. So this is just going to have to be just standard DPS. Seems to be working right now, but that Ezreal is too strong. Especially with the Shojins. Not quite sure whether Shojins is going to land a little bit later, but for Ezreal, not only is it a little bit of attack damage, it's also attack speed because of the Mystic Shot.
Yeah, Shojin's very interesting. Actually locked that shop for the Zillion. Huh, okay.
We have the tome, so...
Yeah, we have a tome. Could roll into Innovator. This Ezreal with the Shojins could turn into a Seraphine with the Shojins. Could get the dragon online. It'll be the first dragon that we would have seen today. Dubious Donger, of course, loves AP. Had that Victor with the blue buff, i.e. Jeweled Gauntlet. It either hard carried or probably whiffed its ult and got taken out before it could ult again because blue buff. Kinda sucks on Victor, but hey, it happens.
Warwick. It doesn't feel like it would, though. Right, it seems like it would be a good item for Victor because of people like Ari, but the attacks there are going to be... You're going to charge up a little bit more with the Shojins.
Large mana pool there on Victor.
Oh,
we get to see a Warwick.
Yeah, we do get to see a Warwick. We haven't seen a single one of these. We didn't mention this as a possible counter to the Sivir. However, when we did see the only other Warwick 3 in the first lobby, that was... it did get second, so it was obviously okay. Against it. We aren't quite sure exactly how Hextech heavy that lobby was, especially since it seems like some of our players saw Sivir in that first lobby and were like, wait a second.
Yep.
So I want to see some snipers. I actually think like a Caitlyn ult could take her out. So if the ult works out, remember we saw Gen 3 get taken out by a Caitlyn not too long ago. Zeri can do it. In terms of only backline access, you assume the QSS is going to be there, so Blitz is not part of the question. It's got to be long attack range, and that's going to be those snipers. Maybe even a Yordle comp could work out against it if you are able to get there really, really quickly, or you get so small.
So small. Could be. I haven't seen really any Yordle focusing. No twin shot reroll either. Which I think you mentioned, and yeah, I mean, maybe not necessarily surprised, but also think that there is opportunity for it. Maybe Stonger is holding a lot of stuff on the bench, not making econ. He's going to just hold a bunch of pairs, walk into the solution with a rod. Okay. Definitely has to make 10 sooner or later. Sooner the better. Curio also grabbing a rod.
On the Warwick, too, so that could potentially go into a Warwick comp as well.
Yeah. It's looking likely from the spot from Mercurial. I think that it's going to be a Gunblade slam on a Lucian, but it definitely doesn't have to commit to anything, right? At this point.
So we only have the large rod, so you're right. We don't have to commit to anything. We've got the bruisers. Looks like we are looking at some mutants.
Yeah.
You know, I was hearing some whispers that Metamorphosis is actually pretty strong right now because of the AD differences.
Oh, Morellos.
So we might be... I didn't see what the mutant buff was, but
Neither
it looks
did
like we
I.
are potentially going that way.
Indeed we do. Having a Cho'Gath in, people stack up early is very, very nice. The Lucian has no synergies in right now, right? It's just being buffed up a little bit by the Bruiser HP, but yeah, it gets taken out by the Rat there, the Twitch. Still might win the round, however. Yeah, looks like we'll actually win the round.
Yeah, the damage doesn't have to come quick. You just have to win the round, right? And the Nocturne gets stuck on the Casted. Remember, the Casted will make that unit do less damage after the ult to Casted, which gives the Cho'Gath time to get an ult and get some feasting on.
Orky here, twin shot potential. Or at least level 6. Always awkward running a Cho'Gath early because you can only run 4 units at this point. K3U, player who, you know, came into this game 8th in the standings, barely made it into the final lobby. But hey, with this 100 HP win streak, with already having a Kha'Zix, could be the start of a comeback run they needed.
Yeah, comeback needs to happen for some of our players. The lobby is so close from top to bottom, those 10 points. It's literally one first place separating a tie, potentially, from our 8th place player. We got our second wind, which is going to be really nice for people like Cho'Gath. But this is a Warwick 1 trying his darndest right now to get through the Alawi. Unfortunately, the Lucian was actually healing up that Alawi for you. And the Lucian is going to take the W. The Morello is definitely helpful too. Really seeing that HP regen nerf on the Warwick. But, you know, after a certain amount of time, once you hit a critical mass of attack speed, you're probably okay. This is our second mutant board, this time already with the Kha'Zix, with K3U. Nice Morellos on the Zyra. I think Cho'Gath is probably one of the better Thieves Gloves holders in general, but this is a good comp right now.
Yeah, Cho'Gath will hold Thieves Gloves really well in the early game. Late game, it does fall off comparatively to if you have like real items like, you know, Bramble Redemption especially is the really key item there. But this could go a lot of directions, right? There's some, I mean, there's some flexible items. Thieves Gloves obviously as flexible as you can come. Similar with Morellos. There is a Sivir on the bench as well. BT. No real Sivir items if we were thinking about, you know, Hex Techs. It would be Irelia focused as well with the BT. What is K3 going to do from the spot? It's not even like they have a lot of econ here. Econ's kind of hurting a little bit.
I think we may have over-invested, potentially.
It looks like it.
Yeah, and we also have one less unit because of the Cho'Gath. So while visually appealing, right, with all of these units on the board, we're going to be a unit down sometimes. This is a much better matchup and probably the best early games effort you can ask for. At this point in time, not really an item that you see this early, but Kha'Zix has always been good against this other assassins, has always been good against things like the Twitch, because he does jump to the lowest HP target after the ultimate. So it's CC all day on the Kha'Zix. But the reason why we don't see it, just like we haven't, Enlightened Talon back in the day, he's still vulnerable in the air. So there's just like dead time where he's literally not doing anything when he's hopping, that he's also vulnerable. So that's a little unfortunate. But the Kha'Zix can pop off, right? If he's not CC'd, he can carry around for sure.
One roll at level 6 and K3U hits the Cho'Gath too. Puts in a talent as well. And yeah, don't have to roll anymore. This is stable. It's almost like we could pretend that K3U had a weak early game board, leveled to 3-2 and rolled down like 20 gold or something, that and finally hit the Cho'Gath 2. That would kind of be equal of spending a lot of gold in the early game, like they did, and still preserved a decent amount of HP. Still is an okay spot to recover that economy. And actually the board strength here is, yeah, pretty nice with that, again, that Cho'Gath upgrade.
Yeah, that was a really nice Thieves' Gloves roll as well. That's going to help with that stack, at least that first one. Sometimes Cho'Gath can ult a little early with some tier items. It doesn't get the stack. That's another handy Thieves' Gloves roll as we get into our other augments. Exiles at First Aid. I like Celestial Blessing with First Aid a little bit better, but both work quite well.
Yeah, Celestial Blessing might actually be the best pick here. I think it is, and yeah, Overrated will recognize that as well. Hey, look what we have here. We have some Sivir items. Of course.
And the interesting thing here too, right, is Celestial Blessings 25%. That's that's before First Aid is going to increase that for the comp. So we are going to be using these hex techs right now. Just the 3 is all we have, but we do have over 50 gold, but we don't have over 50 HP. So we're running out of time.
50 HP. I mean, there's a Nocturne 2 with these items. Oh, is it going to be... Oh, okay, I thought that was like switching out the Nocturne. No, it was switching positioning back to the Socialite Hex. I wouldn't think this board would actually be on a 7-loss streak. But here it is.
But here we are.
Yeah, exactly. The big thing about the Sivir composition is how do you get there, right? How is your early game? And how much HP can you actually save? Nocturne's a really good carry to get you there. I think it's similar to like a Lucian, right? But there's still these rounds. Overrated is going to lose. Yes, barely by 1 unit. So that's like an okay loss. It's basically, words of K3 Soju, a fake loss, right? It's just getting more econ, getting you to that point where you can go 7, roll down, find your Sivir, and stabilize.
I'm still trying to figure out how he avoided seeing a top hat for his whole life.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has seen one, I would imagine.
Yeah, he sees one every time he plays the game.
Yes.
There's one on Gnar. He straight up was like, I don't know what a top hat is.
A little bit of brain lag,
It's okay. We all get it sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
We all get it sometimes. That's smarter than the stupidest thing I've ever said. So we'll talk about that later.
Well, now we're curious, Boo.
As the Nocturne now going to be the placeholder. We've seen this before when it came to the Sivir. The Titans trying to help increase this. The Twitch, the Splash, just to try to... That actually probably would have helped us win that last round if we had a second assassin on the board. We have a bow on the Alistar, but that's totally cool because we have a remover as well. So we're actually doing okay. 44 HP. At this point, we saw like 3 people with Sivir 2s last time. So this is a much slower lobby in general with a lot more mutant attached to some of these players.
Yeah, definitely. Saw at least one Sivir at this point. I think another one was hit on like 4-1 or something on that level 7 roll down. A lot of Sivir 2s very early. Gonna come through. I guess as soon as these players do start rolling down, which there's the context, right? if everyone's trying to play Sivir, or even half the lobby is trying to play Sivir, you don't want to be the one left behind. So you're going to just be rolling fat like earlier and earlier than the other players. And like, does that just become such a degenerate kind of meta where you're just, you know, you can't actually go level 8? If you go level 8, you'll be weaker. I think, you know, it might be the case in some situations.
You're just spending too much time there.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You know, there's a critical mass that happens when it comes to pace, right? And so if you're purposely taking a shorter pace where everyone else is being riskier, you're going to lose a lot of HP, right? Some people are able to push like a level 9 and then turn it around and win the lobby, but in this meta, by that time you only have like 11 HP, right? And you have to be perfect from then on, and that's not been the case for a lot of these players so far. As we do have this Warwick who is doing fine against this Twitch. This is why I was like, why aren't we, you know, seeing this? And it's only a Warwick 2. We do have all best in slot items so far. We need a cloak, and that's gonna appear. We're probably gonna get a cloak on the next carousel if we don't get it on the PvE round, but we do get our tier 3 Ezreal. We're still waiting for our Camille. That would be really nice, but at least we got the bears on the board. The tier 1 units, though, are why we're having a little bit of a hard time.
Yeah, Zillion 1, Echo 1, a little bit of a hard time. Singe 3 is going to be a big one for that front line. Have Phalanx as well. That's why everything's positioned in the back to Rose. Innovator Heart is really nice. If Piba's able to get to that, you know, stick with the term, critical mass, can go level 9, find the dragon. That's a game-winning kind of board. Piba has won with his Twitch evaders before. 46 HP is enough time to get there. Still level 5 rolling. Finds a pair of Echoes. Finds another Camille. Still 3 Camille's left to go and 2 Singed. How long till he finds it? He's not rolling into any of them. Okay, hits a couple of things.
All right. We got to put good vibes into the world, Piba. There you go.
All right, now we level. Play the Camille.
Finally.
Or the Warwick, rather.
Yeah, we do get the level up. We have the Locket on the Echo, and the Twitch is going to be completely safe.
Rolls into a Morello's as well in the Echo. Very nice. Yeah, this is a Twitch win every day of the week. Piba's board is very strong right now. Going to be snapping the streak of K3U. And just needs to regain economy. This isn't the best position Piba has ever been in, but finding a lot of passive upgrades is very, very nice.
Usually his leg is much higher.
True. Posture check.
Spaghetti. That's what I used to, when I was a teacher. I was trying to work with my posture, so I decided to make the whole class do it.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. That works.
I was a band teacher, so it totally worked out, right?
100%.
And so that was it. Loose spaghetti and spaghetti. If we were loose spaghetti, we were slouching. So when I would yell spaghetti, we all had to sit up straight.
Like cooked spaghetti?
Yeah.
Okay, spaghetti. As opposed to just dry spaghetti.
Loose spaghetti.
Loose spaghetti. I was like,
that's a great name for a Smurf.
Loose spaghetti.
Yeah, dude,
I would never pair those words together, just like on my own. I would. Loose.
Hi, my name is Boopasaurus, and I have problems. All right, so we have Warwick losing as well. The assassin doing a little bit better there. We definitely want some lifesteal, but once we get tier 3. That lifesteal should be good enough. Surprisingly, we didn't get a cloak on that last PvE round, but we're going to be picking first on this next one. We're only 2 Warwicks away, so we're actually not in like the worst position ever here, but we are in last place. So we want to at least get this Warwick probably within the next 2 rounds.
Yeah, I actually, Boop, I have to bring it back to loose spaghetti. I have such an apt loose spaghetti story that I just have to. And then we'll get back to TFT. But so I was making spaghetti like, you know, a couple weeks ago, and I opened like the package of it, right? And I only used like some of it because, you know, only cooking for 2 people, right? Not going to make the whole package. And then I put the package back in the closet, and it was at such an incline where some of the spaghetti spilled out of the bag, and it was literally loose spaghetti.
Oh, no!
Yeah, it was. I griefed myself, and I literally loose spaghetti that fell out of the package.
You really loose spaghettied that.
It was a BG.
Oh, man.
But
that's another word for throwing now. You really loose spaghettied that. Spaghetti. Big fan of Tim and Eric right here, by the way. Anyway, Mercurial now, one of our returning top 4 members. in a pretty good position so far around stage 5-1. It is just very common for all of the HP totals to get together, particularly today. Yep. As from the top and bottom, the spread's actually really close. It might not feel like it at 25 HP at the bottom, but with 51 being third, that is a pretty nice spread. 25 HP is a couple extra losses, as well as we're going to be pushing into 5 mutants.
5 mutants online. Really good Malzahar build. Cho'Gath as well. Ionic enabling Malzahar in part. On a win streak, at least 3 win streak. We're gonna make it 4 here. Doing a really good job at scouting. Mercurial, one of the top players, of course, in this tournament. Was 2nd place last week, only to Harukawa Maki. Oh, but that's a Sivir 2 Alistair 2 on the other side. Oh no.
Oh no, and this is like the ultimate Sivir, right? Because you've got First Aid and Celestial with Hextech shielding.
Yep.
So this is good. Oof.
What do you do?
Yeah, I don't know. That is, you're not supposed to say that as a caster, right? So if anyone wants to cast, I don't know, should be eliminated from your vocabulary. But I'm saying it now because what do you do with Sivir? Do you need 7 mutants? Do you need a chase trait at this point in time?
It feels like
First Aid and Celestial and Hextech, right? Even the highest damage units are going to have a hard time breaking through the first set of shields, let alone the repeating versions of them. So I really don't see how that Sivir gets anything below a top 2. Personally at this point, unless the Twitch is able to take it down.
This is the start. I think this mutant is Synaptic Web, because we have Ari2 mutant right now. The mutant crest came through. Talk about what do you do? Hey, a chase trait that might be exactly what Mercurial's up to here. Just needs 1 more mutant to get 7, and that's going to be real strong. Maybe even enough to contest that Sivir. I think it will be, actually.
All right. We have to contest the Sivir. But, Sivir has backline access. Not direct, but after that ult, you can start whittling down this Ari and this Malzahar. But, with Hextech, Gunblade, and Synaptic, it might be a little bit harder to do. This Kha'Zix now at tier 2, having a little bit of a hard time getting stuck on the Cho'Gath. Synaptic Web Ari had an insane win rate during Challenger Series. I believe it was undefeated until like the last 2 lobbies.
Yeah.
Look at this.
It's just you can't even tell what's going on. Honestly, with all
happening.
Those...
So many Sivir blades. Yeah. And Sivir wins.
Sivir versus Sivir, Sivir wins.
But this is probably the most challenging Sivir lobby that you could ask for, especially with the amount of tankiness now that we have Cho'Gaths here, right? So we really weren't working through anything bigger than, just like a Alistar is like the tankiest person that we've seen all day today. So there's a reason why Sivir is ripping through all of those units. It's because she has the access, she has the ability to break through most of the tanks, but not right now, because there's a lot of HP in the front line we have 2 mutant comps right now. This one trying to push to 7.
This lobby is actually really fascinating, and you have no idea what's going to happen, right? There's 2 mutant compositions. One that is pretty much online, has the Malzahar 2, is on the path to going 7 mutant. There's also a really, I think, not even a high roll, but like in a really good spot for Piba with the Twitch reroll to actually go 7 Hextech and have a cap board that way. So we see these Sivir boards that are already online. They're so strong. Even another one right here. What's going to happen when we reach the end game with these other capped boards? Are they going to be strong enough? I think the answer is probably actually yes for a lot of them. So where's it all going to end up at? Because the HP totals are so similar throughout the lobby, minus Stepsis and 8th, right? Everyone else is pretty close to each other.
Ooh, man, it looks like they're playing, you know, when you first play Boggle, you got to shake up all the letters. That's what the board looked like. Just then with Kha'Zix jumping everywhere. But Kha'Zix eliminated Sivir first, right, on the sole basis that it was a Sivir 1. So it had the least amount of HP from the jump, right? So he went straight into the Sivir from the beginning and then was able to ult the Sivir out of the equation. Sivir survives. We probably lose that round. However, we're starting to get that access, right? Earlier we said there's been no assassins. There's been really no snipers, right? Sivir has literally just been allowed to exist in the back line, and we're finally seeing people push the Sivir out of that comfort zone right now.
K3U making a few board changes here. Giz going to put in 3 Socialite to buff up this Kha'Zix. Really, the Kha'Zix against the world, but there's a Seraphine too now. Blue buff Morello's. He's going to apply that healing debuff to Twitch. Actually stay alive for the whole round. Allow Kha'Zix all the time in the world. What, the Zillion Bomb? Oh no. Zillion, Boop. You said it earlier. Zillion, one of the most underrated utility units in the game. We see why right there.
Yeah, it happens. It's frustrating. It's one of the worst ways to lose in the game too, because you literally have to watch the bomb tick, right? It is like walking the plank, and it's unavoidable as we pick up a lot of really good units, but no upgrades so far.
One away from Cho'Gath 3.
Yeah, unfortunately, Cho'Gath 3 notoriously not that good. But we don't have any giant slayers.
There it is.
Oh, there it is, though. Oh, we get it in on time. Good stuff. Good stuff. Oh no, we don't. Oh no, I saw the stars go towards the big Cho'Gath, so it'll be one more round. Hopefully, we win this. This Kha'Zix is doing great.
Kha'Zix v Kha'Zix here. Spider-Man meme once again. Looks like the enemy Kha'Zix from Harakawa actually a little bit better. Even with the death cap being the last item, but yeah, it's good enough. Maybe that was really the Cho'Gath 3 diff? I don't know.
You don't really need mitigation right now, though, Khroen, right? Until this Cho'Gath 3 pops up. But, like, that's just raw damage. And that's good enough right now.
It is indeed. Ninja actually went 8th. Stepsis hung on, and Dubious Dogger is back at it again with the Arcanists. A lot of tier 1 units, however. Tier 1 Victor, tier 1 Ahri. Yeah, with a tier 1 Ahri at this point, no surprise that you're 15 HP and likely to bot for this game. I think, was that an Ahri that they picked up? Oh no, it was a Zyra. The same colors.
Interesting build on the Ahri. That's another unit I think that we will forever be debating best in slot for. I'm still on the Rabadon's Giant Slayer train. But these Hextech Gunblades, if you can't fit it on someone else, very good part of it on RA because you get the forward and back proc on the ult. Potentially a second Victor as well waiting in this shot.
Triple item on the Vex. Oh, Twitch is going to jump right behind the Ahri. Can Ahri sustain enough with this Gunblade, though?
Oh my goodness,
Silcode? No, that's still not enough.
Was close.
Yeah.
That made it entertaining. That's an elimination? Yes. Twitch Invaders taking him down. Stepsis at 4 HP. That's your Warwick comp, right? We have Peebo on this Twitch now, tied for first at 35 HP. And remember, that was about the difference between first and 8th at one point, and it's still the difference between first and 6th right now as we enter stage 6. We might hit stage 7 based on where everyone is right now, as the power levels seem to be kind of going a bunch of different places. Giant Slayer double locket for Peebo on the Ezreal. Not something you see every day, but almost all the power is on the Twitch here.
Peebo just needs a Seraphine and a Jace to have that dragon online. Ward's already so strong, though. Like you mentioned, the Ezreal as well. Double Locket, Giant Slayer. That's going to be taking out the Kha'Zix nearly... Oh, it actually does! Wow. Twitch deals with the backline. Ezreal deals with the assassins. Peebo goes on a win streak. Stepsis goes out in 6th. Harakawa and K3U next on the chopping block.
Yep, Harakawa coming in with the lead coming into this last couple lobbies. We're very close to finishing lobby 4. Apparently, his donation goal is winning the tournament.
Win this tournament, $0. Well,
I love it. Piba's humor is almost like there's something that really just tickles my brain when it comes to Piba.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It's just like, it's just fun. It's just good energy, right? It's just
seriously.
Yeah.
Has always had that kind of like good energy. I'm sure he's a great guy in person. Right?
fun to hang out with.
Yeah, I bet. Anyway, as 35 HP is what everyone's looking up to right now. We do have our Sivir boards overrated. Is probably got the better one right now.
Yeah. Two Kha'Zix boards.
We have 2 Kha'Zix boards, no Dravens here. In our first 8 comp, I think, lost. So we'll see if that's the case. Stand United for this particular board is so good. Stand United, if you're already kind of going the innovator direction, Stand United is a great choice almost every single time. You're probably going to get the most value with Stand United running innovators.
Oh yeah. That Sivir board pushed level 9 before they hit the Sivir 2. Sivir 1, a little too strong.
I agree. Kha'Zix now going to have to deal with the ZZ Rot. Will he be able to do it? Yes, he will.
Oh my god.
Well, what a turnaround. As we do have Ari now with the Mutant still. Mercurial 2-round win streak. Lots of gold. We can definitely go to 9. That's exactly where we're going. We already have our 7 mutants. So this is kind of to help beef up everything else. We would love to get some other mutants, but we already have a Cho'Gath 3 on the board. I mean, a Kaisa, though. That's another mutant.
Yep.
We have one on the board already, and we're just going to leave it on the pack.
Lock in the shop. Going to buff the Cho'Gath with a little bit of extra mana from the Mastermind. 7 mutant, get to see how this Ari does perform, and Malzahar 2, Malzahar 3, no difference really, it seems, especially with this build and this mutant buff. Oh man, 7 mutant, so good. It even takes out the Ari boards, and that takes out overrated. Arakawa Maki falls in 4th, and now we're gonna have a top 2 featuring no Hextech Sivers.
For the first time today. This is the first time that's happened. 4 lobbies. We get a second lock. That's 3 Kaisas and 3 packs for Mercurial. Piba is running the Twitch. This version of Mutant, I think, does really well against the Sivir, especially if you're able to get the spat on the Ari. But, if we didn't get 7, that could have gone a different direction. That was actually moderately close. Is we're going to get our Kaisa 2. We're just going to hopefully, not going to lose by a ton of units, as Piba did hit almost everything. Oh, did hit everything he needed. But if there is someone who is able to eat through these tier 3 units with not a ton of HP, it is actually the Ari. It is Synaptic, but we have the Ezreal on her. Huge ult for the Ari, and we're just going to get even stronger on this next round.
Hey, there's a Kaisa on the carousel. If we didn't have the Kaisa in shop. Does have a Chemtech emblem, which isn't the best. Banshee's fail for Piba. That's actually really solid. I think that could make a bit of a difference here. The Kaisu from Mercurial getting even stronger. Both players level 9, I believe. Or no, Piba's level 9 now. So Piba has the potential if he doesn't already have the dragon. I don't think he did.
Level 9 is very nice for this comp because we only hit level 6 at 4-1, right? So we've had to regain all of that economy and then use it to our advantage. But since we were running reroll, we do have the dragon now. We could do it that way because we spent all our money at the beginning to reroll, right? And then we save our money when they start winning, and then we use the rest of our money to find Jace, right? And that is exactly what happened here. Though the dragon won't stun the Cho'Gath, but should stun everything else, but is not going to stun anything, actually, as it falls.
Yeah. Wow. Even taking a big hit there. Looks like Mercurial's going to wrap this game up. 7 mutants better than 7 innovators.
Which would make sense based on how the patches have worked out the last couple patches. Seven Mutant, always a strong option, especially with Synaptic with Ari.
People said Dragon was bugged last fight. But then also say nothing would have mattered. Yeah, I'm not sure what would have mattered either.
It's good to, catch it, but it's like when, you go up to your teacher and you're like, you marked this wrong. And they're like, well, your answer is wrong anyway. Yeah, right? So,
yeah, Dragon gets the fear off that time.
Yep. Isn't enough. That's 2 kills for Cho'Gath.
Oh, it is.
Oh, no. That is not going to be enough. We're going to round 7.
Going stage 7. Mercurial 19 HP, Peepa on 7. I don't know, that's so funny. The mute all comes through. Didn't want to see Peepa talk about anything. Just wants to focus on the game. Gets an IE for the Kazakhs. Ooh, the Chalice for Peepa. Oh, gonna be so good. Putting on the Echo. That's, yeah.
Right now you need stats, right? You need power, and so Chalice is going to spread that power, i.e. not necessarily going to be doing the same. What's really cool here is that we do have those scholars, right? So not only are we going to have Synaptic, but because we have scholars, it truly is going to be ult after ult after ult after ult when it comes to this comp. Going to go ahead and sell the Malzahars.
Gonna hit Silco too, but
you got to find at least one other one.
Yeah.
Before this round, if you really want to get it. This is the last round, so potentially.
This board swap frontlining all of the important units here because, hey, Twitch is the threat. Twitch is going to jump into the back line. Is this going to be enough, Boop?
Okay, actually, it might be. The Ari's already gotten rid of the corner unit, so we can turn around into the Twitch. We are targeting the Twitch right now, but that was just way too much damage. Peepa was able to get Jace 2. As well through this. So Peepa takes the lobby. Surprisingly from Mercurial there. Jace 2 definitely helping out.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be 20 points for Peepa going into the last game.
Peepa getting the Dragon online, having it actually get the roar off was big. It allowed that time for Twitch to clean up the rest of the board. Ezreal as well. Peepa does get a first place. And maybe with that, will be first place overall on the, in the lobby. I'm not quite sure. Peepa did go into that lobby, I believe, in 7th, was 8 points behind first. Point values are doubled. Peepa gets 20 for that game. Arakawa Maki, I believe, did get top 4, though, got 4th. So might not have surpassed that. Actually, they might be tied. If I'm doing my quick mental math correctly, which I should never try to attempt. But I don't have to speculate about it because our scoreboard is ready. So let's just go ahead and look at it. And okay, was right. Yeah. And it's actually a 3-way tie because Overrated has 38 points as well. This last game is going to be crazy, Vu.
Yeah, so technically, everyone can top 3 still. So FX Ninja with a 20 point could get to 42. If, for example, Mercurial gets last, we could potentially we will push past Mercurial. We would need some help, but according to this, right, whatever Harukawa, Overrated, Peepa, Mercurial finish in will most likely be the final standing. So the 4th lobby is supposed to set you up for a victory, and that definitely did happen for 4 people going into the last lobby who have a real shot at winning the whole thing.
Yeah, that's quite the insane point gap actually between the top 4 and the bottom 4. If these point values weren't doubled, yeah, we'd already just have a wrap on who's coming back next week. It would just be a battle kind of for first place at that point. But as you mentioned, even 8th place right now has the potential to reach top 4. So everyone still has stake in this game, right? Even if you got to play super risky, play for a first place, right? That's still going to be on the table. Arakawa Maki and Overrated, players that have top 4'd every single game today. And yeah, they ended up here in this position, tied in points with Peepa, who, didn't top 4 every single game, but with that first place, yeah, is able to join the conversation there too, because Peepa actually got 2 firsts today, both with these Twitch boards.
So what happened in this lobby, which was interesting, mutants took care of the Sivers, and Twitch was better against the mutants. So Twitch didn't even need to really worry about the Siver comps because the mutants took care of it themselves. Seems like Synaptic Web is the golden ticket when it comes to countering everything when it comes to mutants, especially if you get the spat on the Ari. Such a good spatula item on the Ari. We'll probably see it again if the mutant is Synaptic, but going into this last lobby again, we'll probably see people play Twitch again. It would be super funny if someone else contested the comp who is in the bottom 4. Not funny for Piba, but it might be funny for someone else in the lobby, because again, this is your time to play spoiler too, but there are no real spoilers here as everyone's still eligible for that top 4. So everyone needing to do a top 1 game pretty much right now, as this is the best kind of carousel to start a game like this on, personally. All offensive, 3 good items to start, and every player can kind of do what they want, as it was, 3 rods, 3 swords, and a couple bows.
That's actually so right, Boop. I didn't think about this until you just mentioned it, but it kind of is the type of game, just based off of where the scores are, where everyone should kind of play for first here. I guess there's the argument when it comes to these top 4 players, they don't want to go 8th and then have a player like, in the bottom 4 overtake them and kind of push them out of that 4th place spot. But it's so close, only a 2-point gap between everybody in the top 4. So you want to get first place, you want to win $150 over just 25. Maybe the threat of, you think you're probably safe enough to come back for next week anyway. This is the only tournament, I think, to where literally every single player has almost equal incentive to play for a first place finish in the final game.
I agree. And we got a wonderful carousel start for it too. And we're not going to get one of those, prismatic shenaniganery. When was the last time we had a prismatic augment?
Yeah, we haven't seen that today, huh?
Yeah, none today, and I don't think we got any 2 weeks ago either. And there wasn't a single prismatic augment for HCS. I literally haven't casted a prismatic augment in months.
Prismatic is fake. It's just a figment of our imagination.
It's 6%. It's kind of high.
It's not real.
To at least start with, right? So we shall see if we get another prismatic emblem. First aid, though, we've seen can combine with other units really, really well. Can do really well with innovators too. So we're probably going to be going, in a if it ain't broke, don't fix it direction for Piba, who, really showing that you can play 20 out of 20 and flexibly, right? And be the same player. You don't have to be one or the other.
Exactly. I think Piba is really, really a great demonstration of that. Speaking of, 20 out of 20, finds the Singe, finds the Twitch in these shops. He's going to pick them up. He's not going to pick them up. He's playing Yordles plus Talon. Okay, never mind.
Oh.
Yep, he's... Piba,
okay.
We think we know Piba, but we don't know Piba. We don't know what this man's capable of.
Is Piba even his real name? We don't know.
It was Pivo last week, so right? I don't know. It might be Pibo
Everything
again.
Is up for
might
consideration
be
now. How am I going to live? How am I going to live from this point on? It's also weird to me that Hextech Gunblade works on Talon.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah,
arguably best in slot.
I think it is. So we're going to get the mana battery. The only other person who does mana battery or health battery like that is Malzahar. But it is going to be a, AD/AP benefit for Talon. And he's actually someone who benefits from split bonuses like that. Probably the best in the game, to be honest with you. So we also have a pretty good start here for Overrated with the Shiv on the Gnar.
Yep, Shiv Gnar playing Hextech. We know where this is going to go. The question is, how do we get there? Gnar is a very good carry to get there, even though Gnar AD was nerfed a little bit in this patch. Going to be having a bit more time to get online with this phony front line. That rhymed a lot. It wasn't intentional, but, hey, it happens. And a Warwick player with Ninja over there, already having half of the items that are perfect.
Okay, so what is next for this board, right? Like you said, how do we get to the Sivir? Having the items isn't enough, right? But the Gnar is also a striker, so even if we don't want to move the Gnar completely off right away, we can get the striker bonus on the Sivir, keep the Shiv on the Gnar, but we also have a cloak, so we could get QSS as well. This is a pretty great start for that Sivir comp. The question is leveling, right? How do you level in this Hextech comp? Because lower levels, you can get your 4 Hextech no problem, right? But at the higher levels, you need your Sivir. So how much are you going to invest early on for the 2 or 4 Hextech versus having money later on to roll for Sivir?
Yep, going to try to make 10 here. Winning would mean that Overrated can make 10 without having to sell the Sejuani pair. That'd be best case scenario. And, oh, okay, it's not going to make 10 at all. I'm not going to worry about it. Just spend money to pre-level. I don't really know how good that pre-level is, to be honest. If there was like a Gnar pair, maybe. I guess it gives a bit better odds for hitting the Sejuani pair. Super unlikely to play for that win condition of like rolling into a level 5 Sivir in this like next shop or something like that. But hey, it could happen. Maybe you want to play for the high roll. Again, everyone has to play for a first, or maybe should play for a first in this lobby. So I guess losing out on 10 gold isn't that big of a deal here. And did actually, you know, go to level 5, so it isn't just re-leveling, is full leveling.
And we won, too, so we get our extra income going into this carousel. Mercurial and Stepsis will be picking first. Curious to see if any of them are Merc players. Probably maybe Mercurial with 86. No, Bruiser Hextech and Yordle for Stepsis. So no Merc players in the final lobby, which I think is a little bit of a mistake. At least one person should be running Mercs. That's called going all in, right? If you're a poker player, going Mercs is like doing the all in without knowing what cards you have. Kind of, right? So I probably would have gone that direction in this last lobby if I was part of the bottom 4.
Yeah, I'm sure if some of these players could have pick and choose their shops, they would have, but maybe just didn't roll into the merch.
You just hit, you know? Sometimes you just need to hit.
Yeah, I mean, true. You should have just hit.
Yeah.
I agree, Boop. I agree.
Yeah. Sometimes just be better. Right. Speaking of which, I am challenging myself to eliminate the word "just" from my vocabulary because I think it makes everything sound mean.
Yeah, I had a conversation about that with some friends the other day. I agree.
Nice.
Just is very like, it's very diminishing of the value of certain things. So
like just hit, right?
Yeah, just
that's a great example.
Exactly,
It's a perfect example of it. All right, so we do have our Gunblade Talon already at tier 2. Look at all that healing. The 25 extra armor, not going to be enough there. That is going to be a Talon win every time.
Yep.
Ninja a little frustrated. It looks like we made it into the finals, right? And like you said, every single person has the opportunity to make the top 4. So you really just got to be in control of everything. And it's so hard after 5 games to play this lobby like you've played the rest, right? But this is where all that practice, all of those, you know, VOD reviews, if you do them, are going to come in handy. It's these moments where you're tired and you're not thinking about everything, where you're going to depend on your mechanics to pull you through.
Yeah, 5 games TFT tournament setting is a long one, right? And players who compete in, you know, those tier 2, tier 1 events are used to 6 games a day, and yeah, you can start to see the fatigue at certain points. Definitely subject to these players as well, especially some of these being, you know, newer competitive players. Fight Night Rising is oftentimes players, you know, kind of first debut in competing in tournaments in general. So a lot to adjust to. Tournament is not ladder and should not be treated as such. It is a different environment. We see the best who adjust to it. Yeah, come out on top.
Yep, and remember, folks, tomorrow is April Fool's, so your PSA is to not trust anything you see or hear tomorrow. All right, that's for all of you who forgot. It was April Fool's.
I literally forgot. It's really an hour until April Fool's. It just wasn't even on my radar. I'm just kind of sleep for all of tomorrow. Just not look at social media. Tomorrow just doesn't exist.
And some people are really mean,
I
on April
know.
Fools. Like they're like, it's funny, and I'm like, this is just really mean.
I don't exist
funny.
tomorrow. Don't interact with me tomorrow.
Okay. Will do. That's okay. I completely agree. I will be doing the same thing because like game announcements will happen tomorrow. Movie announcements that'll never get made.
I know.
Will happen tomorrow. So just your PSA as we move through the early game here on this last lobby. Overrated is going to be leading the squad, and then we have a K3U at 94 HP, 68 for step sis. No one's running Merc, so that's really low. But we do have some Hextech players now who one has a Sivir
and an Alistair. What? They have a Morello's Alistair and a Sivir already at 3-1, level 5, I think that board was. What a... Oh, man. What a game. What a game this is. Teamfight Tactics. You love it or you hate it. You mostly love it, though.
I mostly love it, that is for sure. Especially when the augments are in my favor. Nocturne does not release the ultimate once he casts it, so if anyone's curious about that interaction that we just saw, great items on the Gnar. I love Static Shiv on Gnar. Just feels really good. You get the tier to get to that first ultimate as well, and he can start machine gunning that ultimate. But we're also at K3U, who is running the other Talon comp. So we haven't seen any Talons all day.
I know.
For this last lobby, we have 2.
I feel like that happens like, more than it should, really. It's like we don't see a comp the whole day, and then all of a sudden it pops up and, oh, it's contested. Which is like, if I was in that situation, I was a player, like, I'd be like, what's going on? Like, why is the one time that I decided to run this, someone else is too? Like, it's frustrating, right? Because in a reroll composition especially, it really forces you to want to pivot out to something else.
Or you get like weirdly locked into it, right?
Yeah.
Where you're like, I'm not
probably
shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you play chicken instead,
stubborn.
Right? With the other comp. But I saw a Debonair brand absolutely destroy a lobby the other. It was a reroll Arcanist comp the other day, meaning yesterday. So I still want some of these Arcanist comps to show up because 8 Arcanist, if you're able to get it, can really help power through damage into the front line. Vex is one of the best frontliners in general in the game. We have Yordles here that we're looking at for Donger, it looks like. So we're also printing some money. There's a Sivir on that board too, and I think we're just stealing it. As Debonair, Thrill the Hunt 2, and Smoke Bomb is going to be the choice. Smoke Bomb might be fun for the Talon, but it's probably the Debonair. As we move over to Mercurial now, Jewel Lotus, Thrill the Hunt, and Keepers with Hextech. Keepers is really good.
Imagine you get first aid as well with it. We saw that synergy, I think, a few weeks ago once. It worked out real nice.
It won in dominating fashion, from what I remember. There was also 2 Zeeks on the Sivir that was supporting the Sivir as well. But this is our Hextech comp with the early Alistar with a best in slot item for some reason, and a Sivir that I think we may have gotten from just a lucky roll on the pack. We're already level 7 too at 3-3, so we're racing for the Sivir this time, right? We talked about earlier, how do you get to the Sivir? This is one way, is racing to level 7 to get access to all the Sivirs at first versus fighting one other person for 7 of them.
I really like off-tempo leveling in situations that make sense. It's like one of the actually most beautiful things to see in TFT, or players recognizing these situations, because it allows Mercurial to play 6 Hextech. It's such a big power spike. Mercurial's not going to lose a round to literally anybody in the lobby. I'd be shocked if a round loss would come through. Mercurial's still making a respectable amount of gold as well, is going to be able to hit multiple breakpoints each subsequent turn, and I think the biggest thing is being on level 7, so being able to hit these units like Alistair and Sivir to hit faster than all the other players. There's so many factors that come together that make sense for this off-pace leveling. Mercurial is putting himself in position to win this lobby with decisions like that.
And there were 3 cloaks on that carousel, so we're definitely getting our QSS. We need a rod for the Rage Blade if you're going that direction. But we've seen Last Whispers, we've seen Giant Slayers on the Sivir work out almost just as good. The Shiv might be something that we want too. Just like Warwick, you do need the 2 bows if you go that direction. But we already have 6 Hex Tech at 3-5, and we actually have 22 gold, which is a lot after leveling last round.
22 gold, yeah. I mean, being able to, again, make these econ breakpoints every single turn is going to make recovering that economy that much easier. Have the Quicksilver. Still need 2 bows, however. Not quite, in perfect position yet. If 1 bow comes through from the Wolves, though, then that will be, pretty much as good as they get. Ninja's still just on Warwick 1.
The Warwick has not performed well today. We've gotten a couple top 4s, but nothing close to a win, to be honest with you. Even the Warwick with the second place, lost that lobby by 40 or something like that. So nice top 4 comp, but definitely not pushing for the win right now. Love that Donger has committed to AP the entire time. We've actually been waiting for someone to do this, right, for like a month and a half, and it's performing almost exactly like I had assumed, right? You're going to be competing for top 4s a lot of the time, but with the right items, the right kind of augments, we might be able to top 2. Donger did win a lobby earlier today, so the AP can definitely work out. Do we have any tiers, though, to go with our units? One of them has already been invested in the Malzahar. We do have 5 Arcanists.
Yep.
And we are already going to put the Large Rod on the Sivir, too, because why not? We're going to put a bow on it, right? Yep. It's going to happen, so why not just start using the stats now?
There's no way that we, don't get any bows, right? Right? Surely we get bows.
We have 1 more carousel that might be able to do it as well. But you know what? The thing about Donger that I've really appreciated, that's a funny sentence, is how much fun he's been having today. He looks like he's been really having a really fun time. So
yeah, 100%.
You love to see it, right? So that's why we're here, is to have fun. So we get the Vex 2, which is really nice. We still only have the Malzahar 1. We invested the items on the Malzahar, so we're still looking for that upgrade. A level up coming on the next round for sure.
Definitely so. I know you wanted to see more Arcanist, Boop, and hey, we know that Dubious Donger is going to give that to us. Quite a treat to see. Where's it going to end up? We do have So Small, actually, as an augment. So, yeah, this Vex, she's going to be real nice. Real strong. There is a Shroud to give her more dodge as well.
Love it.
There we go. It's specifically for you, Boop. That Shroud, that dodge.
All right, so we're back over to K3U. We did pick the Debonair emblem along with Weak Spot. Thornmail on the Leona. We saw Draven heavily for the first 2 games and then not at all for the last 2. So we're definitely going to be pushing Talon. I wonder if the Draven is going to show up here. The Ionic Spark on the Gnar, just showing off how good Gnar is as a unit even after those nerfs. So we're going to be helping out the rest of our team with that Ionic Spark. And we get a couple more losses because of the Gnar, but P-Bus struggling right now. Probably should have stuck with the Innovators, my friend.
He is struggling, but he is pushing levels. P-Bus isn't rerolling this Talon, so maybe he can stabilize a bit later on. It's going to be harder for K3U. That is VIP Talon, but no, this Talon looks like is just going to be an item carrier for a Draven that we are not hitting. A Zeri, that's a hit.
Is it going to be a one-hit wonder, though, Khroen?
It might be.
Right? We got to do it a couple more times, and we got to make sure that we enable the Zeri. At least we have the item remover, so we can move a Debonair Spat if we want, but putting it on the Vi is one of the best holders of that Debonair Spat, in my opinion. Lots of damage from the tier 1 Orianna, but that's about it. So much shielding, no items on this Sivir, but still will survive. This is the Shiv that I said, we might keep it on Gnar until we get the other Sivir, so it seems like Overrated is doing just that with Binary.
Yep, I think that's a great idea. Fantastic idea. Here's a Sivir. Roll past it. Hey, there's the Draven. We get a Draven, we get a Zeri. We're gonna get 5 Debonair in here soon, I would think. But still really far away from level 8 at this point. And is still rolling down. I don't like rolling more there. I think that even if we roll once, we're in, hit like a pair of Dravens, that's, not really going to do anything. Much rather just repair the economy at this point. Hopefully Draven 1 is enough to stabilize, and if it's not, well, I mean, kind of tough luck there.
Mm-hmm. The dubious
so many dodges. Look at that.
Right? See, this is what I'm saying.
Dodge, dodge, dodge,
right?
Dodge.
Not even through the shield. So, and that's only just one item. You add a secondary dodge item to that? Like, that's some serious stuff working out. Like, I'm not doing my regular Chris thing. Like, I was to build this dumb thing. I swear it's going to work. Right? And see if I can bait anyone into it. Like, I truly believe investing in dodge is the answer.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to make it happen. I'll have to make a video or something.
Yeah. No, I'm seeing the power of it, right? You go a Shroud, you go, what, a Quicksilver or something?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Banshees, that's going to be, what, like 60% dodge?
Yeah, and with things like Sivir and Draven, every comp that we've seen today that Dubious Donger hasn't played, right, has been an attack damage-based comp, even the Talon, right? So Talon is notoriously bad against Vex because of the multiple shielding, and then with the dodges should be pretty good. Oh, we're actually getting some QSS on the front line there as well, so we're starting to do it.
Nowhere near as powerful as the what's it called, as the Vex with the so small, right? But yeah, there still is dodge in the front line. I think it looks like it's just item carrier right now, because like there's pieces of this kind of late game Sivir everywhere. There's the Shiv on the Gnar, Quicksilver on the Sejuani, but also rocking the Hextech. It's kind of weird that it is on the Sejuani at this point. It's really just there for binary value, it looks like. Maybe we replace that Sedge later. Rebuilder?
Yeah, maybe. Ooh.
Hey, there's Renata.
Yeah, we found her. Renata with the Hextech Gunblade as well, and the blue buff. Man, that was the coolest PowerPoint I've ever seen in my life. But people did end up getting the win. We have Woodland, Titanic, and Weak Spot. That's probably Weak Spot. Titanic's actually okay with Alistar, but we don't have it right now. That's not the version of the unit that we have. Second Sivir, though.
How much ping is overrated playing on right now? This is actual slideshow. It's fine.
It's there was a very, very famous Australian player that played in North America for a first-person shooter, and he was notoriously worse on good ping.
Huh?
Yeah. He just like was so used to playing with high ping that when it was gone, it was just weird for them. Interesting, right?
Yeah,
but we get some good roll downs here. We get the Sivir 2 and a potential Draven 2.
Are we gonna do it? I mean, it's not gonna. Yeah, it seems like it'd just literally be a waste of gold. So I actually like the decision not to do it. Playing a secondary Jarvan 1 over anything even like a Silco. I'm not sure that's the best call there. Could have played as Rek'Sai given Bruiser, but I mean, I guess hitting Sivir 2, right? That's enough.
Yeah, that's more than enough. In my opinion, even with just the Shiv, but we're going up against another Sivir. Sivir 1, I think, might have a higher win rate than Sivir 2 right now. Today, as the Sivir 1 is going to take it. Rageblade superseding the damage that we were able to do with just our Shiv. We don't have the possibility of a Rageblade right now. We have 2, 4, 6, 8. We have a pretty large amount of item components already, so I don't expect a ton coming out of chickens, but we could get lucky.
Could get lucky. Indeed. Had to sell the Sejuani, of course. And we'll see if we can, be able to get back up to 4, even 6 Hextech. But yeah, a little bit of Hextech diff there. What items? There's another sword. Not really what Overrated wanted to see. There is an Alistair, so that can go in. Replace one of those Jarvans. Replace a Braum in there as well. Seeing Harakawamaki.
Twin shots!
Twin? I mean, yeah, twin shots were nowhere near tier 3ing anything, though.
This is a heavily rolled composition, and unfortunately, we're not really quite there. Oh, we do have that augment where if you have 2 copies,
double trouble.
They will get better stats. Gangplank, one of the best users of that. But if you ever pick that augment, it's twin shots every time. Works the best with that. You're going to get another unit once we do get tier 3 on those twin shots. And since a lot of them are uncontested, you're able to get them, particularly the Gangplank. And right now, the Corki, no one running any Corki even in the early game.
Yeah, Quirky, we saw maybe like 1 instance of it or something like that, but definitely not much. Still a long way to go for Harakawamaki, and they don't have a lot of time left to do it. 12 HP only. K3U does drop in 8th, unfortunately. And a lobby full of 8 great players. Someone has to take the 8th.
And this looks like a 3-person race right now. 13 HP for 4th place, right? So Mercurial, we know, is running a good composition, right? Overrated, we know, is running Sivir. And we have the AP comp for Donger. So everyone has, I think, most of the information they need to make a decision here.
2 Lucians in that shop. Yeah, that's a snap lock. But is it going to be enough, though? 12 HP. Can Harakawamaki survive?
It looks like the twin shots are doing fine.
Yeah.
Right now. Wow, that wasn't even close. Overrated is able to take the L there as we're looking on over at Stepsis. We have some dodge in the front on the Vi. Love to see it. At least 1 dodge item, right? That might even be enough, as we would have loved to get our tier 3 Corki because that's where the Deathblade is. But instead, we're going to get the Lucian. You're going to take that every single day. And we're close to
roll
our
for the Corki. Another GP. Oh man, this feels so bad.
I think, man, it's only 1 more Corki. Do you lock here, Khroen? Do you lock here?
I mean, I think so. Hope to carousel, get one of the 2, or you win the round. Not sure you're gonna be able to though against Piba here, but we'll see.
All eyes are on that Lucian 3. It's not the one with items, though.
Nope.
That's the hard part about this particular comp.
It's over.
Where are you going to put those items? And that wasn't even close. That's a huge loss. Piba will top 4 from this point.
Yeah.
But I believe 3 of our top 4 are in the top 4 right now. So it is really and truly wherever they finish at this point in time. So we've got... Overrated, who's been running Sivir, is at 38 points, I believe, right? We got Piba at 38 points, and Mercurial, I believe, is up there too.
Because Harakawamaki did finish in 5th, though, I don't know if Dubious Donger can overtake that. In fact, I don't think it is possible, actually, so the top 4 might still be the same. It is still a battle for who's going to win on the night, though, who's going to earn a little bit more money. Mercurial with Sivir 1, pushing to level 9. Yep, there we go. There's level 9. 58 HP. Absolutely insane board here. The Alistair, the true carry, honestly, but allowing Sivir the time to do what she does best. Doesn't even have 3 perfect items, right? Has the Hodge. We saw Sivir Hodge earlier. It still did a lot of work. See if it's enough versus Piba in the Renata comp.
Yeah, I assumed that the shields would be very good against the Renata, but once we get all of the stacks on, it could be a little different. As of right now, the shields are doing great. When it comes to the Renata. This is just the tier 1 Sivir BT dubs. Jesus. My goodness. This
really
is such a good unit. Such a good unit. But look at how much trouble this Vi is giving her, right? If Vi wasn't the only unit on the board, for example,
survives because of that.
Someone else might be able to take her down.
Yeah.
Piba now, 2 HP. Dubious at 21, playing spoiler, overrated at 40, and Mercurial at 58.
Piba survives because that Vi took down one more unit there. So lives with 2 HP, gets another chance. Not favored versus the Hextech board. Or boards, I guess there's 2 of them. Of course there is, right? It's Hextech.
Yeah. It would make complete sense. Love to see the Irelias too. Burst damage pretty good against the Hextechs when the shield goes down, right? That's the issue.
Ooh,
is are you going to be able to get the shield down? So we're going to use the Tahm Kench's here not for items, well, though that would be nice, but more for utility, as the binary going to use the Jeweled Gauntlet. I don't even know if that works.
Yeah, I don't think so. A little bit of crit, I guess, but yeah, this Renata had a much easier job at dealing with this board. The front line from Overrated was not quite as good. Really just the Alistair, but Piba survives yet again on level 9, looking for Tahm Kench 2. IE comes through. Not the best item.
You can
not completely useless, however. Yeah, put it on Tryndamere, put it on Jace.
Some people itemizing Tryndamere with Zeeks in these comps, but we do have 3 Enforcers here too, and that's the other thing, right? Enforcers only appearing with a spat or level 9, right? That's the only way that they've been here so far. I don't think there are any other Enforcer comps, so not. And we're going to be able to Nico's the TK, so we're going to get a TK2.
TK2, or perhaps if we roll into something like a couple of Jaces, could go for that. Mercurial still has not hit the Sivir 2.
But it's still in the top 4 with 49 HP.
Yep.
Right? So that's the story. We're rolling past our Aries. We rolled past the tier 2 Irelia. We just wanted Sivir.
Sivir, hello?
Sivir?
Sivir, are you there?
Is this the house on the lake with Keanu Reeves where we can only talk to Sivir through the mail?
It might be.
All right, binary airdrop to you, going to be helping Overrated. We do have the Sivir there with the Shroud. So this is going to be dodgy Sivir, not going to be doing a lot of damage. But the Rageblade tier 1 Sivir going to be going up against the Vi. Look at all that dodge, by the way. I think I'm right, dude.
Dodge is pretty good.
You just got to invest it. You just got to be okay with putting your Crit Glove in 1 dodge item.
Yep. Double dodge items on that Sivir over there. Mercurial. 30 gold left. Surely Mercurial hits.
Sivir? Sivir? Sivir, can you hear me? Sivir, can you see me? No, this is... This has got to be... Oh, we get Jace 2, though.
Okay.
Jace 2 over Sivir 2. We only need the 1 copy. We're at level 9. Like, everything is correct. Nice swap, though. The TK going to have to walk towards a pretty much dummy unit there just to get eaten. We do have that ult for the Sivir. She has started to stack that Rage Blade. We've seen her do really well against this comp already, but there's more beef now, especially with that Tahm Kench. The backline axis does not quite be there so far. The Jace falls down, but does enough distracting to help this tier 1 Sivir once again take the dub against Piba.
Oh, man. Yeah, Piba, I believe, does get a 3rd with that. Killed enough units. Dubious Donger takes 4th. Piba gets 3rd.
And that's that Vi, 3 rounds ago, taking 1 unit down.
Yep.
And that's the result. Is a whole place higher. That's more money for you.
Exactly.
And we still do not have Sivir.
I think Overrated had another Sivir 2 on the bench, or maybe it was just one more Sivir. I don't know. Had more Sivirs, was denying them from Mercurial. Mercurial went level 9.
Donger had one too, by the way.
Oh yeah, so I guess one was back in the pool, but wasn't enough to find it.
Right, so
has 2 Sivirs.
It looks like Overrated has 5 total Sivirs.
Yep.
So
there's 7
Sivirs,
Sivirs, there's still 5 more.
right? So, but you're going to have to roll that against all of the other units. We already saw this tier 1 Sivir take the tier 2 Sivir last time, but we have a Titans on it now, and the Irelia was able to corner the Sivir. This is probably, this is already a Sivir versus Sivir final.
Yep.
Whoever wins this most likely wins Fight Night.
Sivir on the carousel, not looking like it. Zeke's, oh man, both players really wanted that. Mercurial gets it. Warmogs. Oh no, to add insult to injury, Overrated finds yet another Sivir to deny. Mercurial, are they gonna get it? Nope. Not yet. Maybe one more round left to, you know, where you hit. Even being able to make it to this point, though, with a Sivir 1 and be in real contention for first is still really insane, however.
Ooh, Hextech Gunblade for the Alistar. Still no Sivir 2. But there's 2 Sivir 2s for Overrated. We actually have a Sivir 3 angle for Overrated if Mercurial doesn't hit those Sivers, and it doesn't look like he is right now, but it also doesn't seem like Sivir 2 is required, at least to compete for some of these rounds. I don't think Sivir 2 can take this Irelia, but the Sivir 1 can take the Irelia, but the Sivir 2 definitely can. So, I mean, fingers crossed, if you're a Mercurial fan, this is your last round to find it.
Yep, last round. Again, it might be just good enough getting to this point with Sivir 1.
Maddening.
And, yep, I think it will be.
Absolutely maddening if you're Mercurial. You did everything right, and Overrated just saw more of them, it seems like.
I mean, arguable, I guess. I guess you could say, hey, rolling at 8 instead of pushing 9 could have been better to secure the Sivir 2 before you push levels. Of course, you wouldn't think that you would run to the situation, but hey, here you are.
Well, remember, Mercurial was also the first person to hit level 7 at 3-3, right? So,
yep.
you know, we were trying to get to Sivir like super early, and we literally never got there. This potentially is the last round. Overrated has won the last 4 in a row, the last 3 being a 1v1. The double Zeeks, though, definitely helping. Oh, Sivir's still alive. We have more numbers on the red side.
Wait a minute.
Is this... Oh, my goodness.
We're going to stage 7 for our final game of the day, Boop. Another chance for Mercurial to hit, but even if they don't hit, the possibility of winning is still there with a Sivir 1.
Yeah, so if the Sivir 1 wins...
I mean, we already know there's going to be a B patch, so it's not even like... we don't got to go to Mort Dog's house, you know, down at his door.
I think we figured out what it's about, too. Yeah. I wonder if we're going to get a QSS change. That's the only thing that I'm, like, truly wondering. If maybe we take out some of the attack speed that we added to it to make it viable in a previous set. Because right now, honestly, the dodge and the CC immunity seems to be enough.
Yeah.
Okay, Mercurial and the search for Sivir continues.
Search for Sivir. It's not.
You gotta laugh. It's just not going to happen. It's not in the cards.
It's really not.
No, the heart of the cards has decided that it will break here. But we won the last round, right? So we know we can actually take this round because of the double Zeeks. And the Jace too. Maybe the Sivir's not even the carry.
Honestly.
Nice swap.
Oh, the Shroud misses from Overrated. Nice swap indeed.
Here we go. This is the last round of Fight Night, determining who will win out at the end. The Frozen Heart is starting in the corner. It's not going to affect the Sivir. Remember, this is a Sivir 1 versus a Sivir 2 comp. The Irelia is going to be one of the best ways to get rid of the Sivir 1. The Sivir 1 is down. Sivir 2 will reign supreme, as it should, every single time against the little sister, as the last round has been played. Overrated should take the day.
Man.
Finishing in second place in this lobby.
Overrated with the win over Mercurial. What a day, Boop. What a day indeed. We got scoreboards ready, so let's just go take a look at it and see. Overrated indeed is going to be your Fight Night Rising champion. 58 points. Is that a record?
It might be. I mean, it's a 3 top 4s, a second, a fourth, and a first. 2 firsts.
Yeah, Yiggles
So
had
in
the
a third.
previous record of 56, so we have a new record
Oh, yeah.
holder.
So Overrated now has the new record. So this record at 58 points, I think, is beatable. But you got to give props to getting it here. So Overrated now can say that you're the highest scoring person ever for Fight Night Rising.
Yeah. Wow. There you go. There you have it. And was one of the new players as well, right? Mercurial, Pibahar, Kawamaki all came back from last week, but Overrated came in here, said, nope, first time, that is A-okay. I'll still win it all and still do it in pretty dominant fashion, I would say. I mean, sure, having a good read on the meta, understanding, yeah, Sivir is really good. I don't say, abuse Sivir, but also abuse Sivir, because you gotta, it seems like at this point. Oh,
All
man.
right, so unfortunately, we don't get to ask about the Sivir. We've been talking about, that's probably the most I've ever said her name in my life.
I was just thinking that, actually.
If you're seriously, after today, if you're not running Hextex or attempting to run the Hextex with those items, some people might use those bows for Warwicks, and that just wasn't what was working today. It was Sivir the whole time. A Sivir almost won that last lobby, which again shouldn't happen, and it didn't, but it was a little too close, which again just shows that Sivir is just that strong right now, and you can't, have a good Sivir without a good Alistar, in my opinion, as Alistar was creating so much space for the Sivirs to kind of just roll down. So the rest of the units, and this was the Hextech show today.
It really was the Hextech show. We'll be seeing a little bit of a different meta, I believe, next week, because again, that beat patch is coming through, as you mentioned earlier, Boop. More already tweeted. TFT devs really do spoil us, right? There's a problem, they're going to be fixing it pretty much every single time, right when they need to. So, yeah, just final thoughts from you on the end of the day before we close out here.
Yeah, gonna be playing some Sivir. If you see me on ladder, please don't take my units.
Please
it
don't
didn't seem to matter today, though. Actually, it literally didn't seem to matter.
Not sure anyone's gonna listen to that one.
Yeah, I know. That's pretty much asking for my units to be taken if you see me. So do what you need to do. I'm probably gonna be doing something dumb anyway.
Yeah, it happens. The Boop, the Boop.
It's the lab, dude.
Yeah, you gotta go to the labs. Really try to.
You gotta go to the lab.
Push the boundaries. People see something like, oh, there's a 5 AD buff on this. Oh, okay, I'm gonna re-roll it, right? Or something like that. So, okay.
Sure. Sometimes some of the greatest successes are found through failure. So
that is very, very true. Wise words from Boopasaurus.
As always.
As always, indeed. That'll do it for us here tonight at Fight Night Rising. But until next week, take care, have a good night, and good luck in your Sivir games on ladder.